Hey everyone, Firescale Audiobooks here. If there's a novel you'd love to hear more of, you can support us on Patreon or Ko-fi. Depending on your tier, I'll make extra parts just for the stories you're most excited about. Usually I can only upload 4 to 5 parts of each novel, but with your support we can go beyond that. And of course, don't forget to hit subscribe. It helps more than you know.
I didn't expect that I would actually travel to the apocalyptic wasteland world. Is this God giving another chance? Liang still can't figure out that such a bizarre thing as crossing actually made him meet. He has been recuperating for 5 days, and Liang's military literacy is enough for him to collect some basic information. This world is much larger than the Earth, but it has been abandoned and shattered, and civilization has decayed to almost extinction. The land cannot grow food, and it is desolate for thousands of miles. There is little rain, and rain is also acid rain. Dust is often covered in the sky, and occasionally the sun can shine on the earth. According to the current rate of recovery, just rest for a day or two. Liang moved his arm and the soreness had disappeared. After 5 days of recuperation, he was gradually able to use his strength. Liang pulled open the crack of the wooden shed door and looked at the situation outside. At dusk, there was a desolate land without any green. The doomsday-like wasteland world, this is considered a deduction on the other side of the earth, but now I have encountered it. Liang was on the earth. As an orphan, the university tuition was not enough, so he joined the army halfway through. After 5 years of special forces, the old wounds relapsed and they had no choice but to retire from the army. He intends to use what he has learned in the army to become a short video creator. That is to shoot some videos of survival in the wilderness. Who would have thought that Liang was unlucky enough to encounter a ground crack caused by an earthquake? He thought he would just die like this. In the blink of an eye, Liang woke up and found that he was lying in a wasteland-like apocalyptic wasteland, his whole body sore and unable to move. Fortunately, there is no unparalleled road. A girl disguised as a boy rescued him and secretly dragged Liang back to the camp and hid him. Liang sighed helplessly. However, maybe it is really about to start survival in the wilderness. As a stowaway, if someone in the camp finds him, he has to start leaving immediately. According to Mino, the stowaways are caught, severely beaten to death, and generally worked to death. Either way, it is not the result Liang wants. Minuo was the one who disguised himself as a man and passed by and saved Liang, and she also hid him in her home. Crack tilde tilde, there was a very slight cracking sound of a small wooden stick. Liang immediately recovered from his thoughts and vigilantly pulled open the gap in the wooden shed to look out. A thin figure with a dirty face was walking towards the wooden shed with a shrunken head. Liang's tight body relaxed, and this sneaky figure was Mino. Click. The leaky wooden shed door was carefully pushed open. In the next second, the wooden shed door was closed instantly. Ah, what are you doing by hiding by the door without saying a word? As soon as Mino closed the door, he turned to see Liang in front of him, and his heart beat with fright. How is the harvest? Liang stepped back and sat down, leaning on the doorway. Liang, you are really amazing. The trap you taught me to do is very useful. Mino was very excited when he talked about this. Shibarabara said, the little lizards I caught today are many times more than the ones I caught before. How many are there? Liang asked with a chuckle. After 5 days of getting along, he did not expose Mino's identity as a man dressed as a man. He, it will definitely scare you. Mino smiled playfully, pulled out the cloth bag that was slung, and pulled out a small brown lizard the size of 2 fingers. Immediately afterwards, she took out 7 flat little lizards and placed them neatly in front of Liang. How many stone traps did you make today? Liang glanced at the wound on the girl's finger. Time is not enough, only 22 traps were made today. Mino was a little unwilling, pouting his little mouth. Tomorrow, I will definitely be able to do more than 30 traps. Don't arrange too much, be careful to be discovered by others. Liang reminded calmly. Yes, Mino suddenly realized. Then she bit her lower lip and said anxiously, but if you can't set up more traps, you will have to pay taxes in 3 days. What about your tax? How bad am I? Liang frowned slightly. In 5 days, he also learned about the rules of the camp. If you want to live in the camp, you have to pay taxes as long as it is for food. Adding the little lizards captured now, it's still about 30 little lizards. Mino lowered his head lost. 5 days of getting along from the beginning of vigilance. Go to Liang to use survival equipment to trade with the girl for a confidential transaction of residence. Until last night, Liang taught the girl how to set up a stone pressure trap, which made Mino feel dependent on him. It also allows the girl to enjoy the warmth that has not been taken care of for a long time. Liang didn't care and asked, "Is your tax paid?" It is not difficult for him to pay taxes. As long as he is well maintained, he is not going to catch small lizards. Mino was not in high spirits and whispered, "I have handed in 35 little lizards before, but 5 is enough. Don't worry, I will leave if my tax is not enough." Liang calmed down. "Huh, are you leaving?" Mino suddenly raised his head and looked at Liang in amazement but didn't know how to keep him. "Yeah, I'm almost recovered." Liang clenched his fists. "Isn't it 3 days? I can definitely collect your share of taxes," Mino said in a panic. Without waiting for Liang to reply, she hurriedly opened the gravel pile from the corner of the wooden shed and took out a wooden box from it. "I still have some small lizard jerky here, so you can definitely pay your taxes." Mino opened the wooden box and took out 8 dried little lizards from it. "Take it away, this is your food reserve." Liang narrowed his eyes slightly, feeling a little moved in his heart. He reminded in a deep voice, "Don't forget I'm an adult and I pay a different tax from you." Mino trembled, unwillingly trembling. There must be other ways. How could the girl forget that the adult taxes are different? She just wants to keep Liang and then secretly set up more stone traps and collect 50 little lizards. "You forgot what you said on the first day we met." Liang raised his head slightly and looked at the girl calmly. On the first day Minuo rescued him, thinking that Liang was dead. He was rummaging through his body. Unexpectedly, Liang suddenly made a sound and Minuo was frightened. Then the girl was still too tender and she was stunned by Liang in a few words. Use his portable saber and water tanks in exchange for the girl's help. It was also that day Mino said, "This is just a deal, you leave immediately." Mino flushed, trying to say something in a panic, but didn't know how to explain it. She turned around without saying a word and pulled out a camouflage backpack from under the wooden bed. The girl hurriedly carried her backpack and gently placed it in front of Liang. "I didn't move anything at all, it was all inside." Mino pursed his mouth, his eyes timidly pleaded, "I will pay you back, will you stay here? Why do I have to stay?" Liang did not go to look at the backpack and asked doubtfully, "We have only known each other for 5 days, are you afraid that I am a bad guy?" He reminded the girl that he didn't want to get things back, but just wanted to know why the girl suddenly changed. I don't know." Mino lowered his head and grabbed the hem of his clothes with his little hands. Anyway, she felt very uncomfortable when she heard that Liang was leaving. This is the same feeling that Big C had to leave 4 years ago in order to pay her taxes. The ignorant girl wanted to hold on to the feeling that had appeared before. Mino was too young to have a choice before, but now he doesn't want to experience the loneliness and helplessness after Big Sis left. "Wait, I have one more thing which should be enough to pay taxes." Mino bit his lower lip, his mind flashed. The girl remembered the important things, looked around in the wooden shed and finally hurriedly crawled under the wooden bed, found it still alive. After a while the girl uttered joyous cheers. "What is it?" Liang asked the probe. Mino climbed out of the wooden bed and held a slapped turtle in front of Liang with both hands offering treasures. "The tortoise," Liang said in surprise, and the explorer held the tortoise that looked a bit like a tortoise. At this moment a voice came into his mind. "Ding, tameable creatures detected bound to the trainer system. Ding, tameable creatures detected and bound to the god-level trainer system. 90%. Ding." The god-level trainer system is successfully bound, indicating that the introduction is issued. Liang hadn't reacted much yet and a message came in his mind. After reading it, he understood what was going on. A high-dimensional world is used to train an intelligent system for training teachers. In the process of delivery and transmission, it was accidentally involved in the turbulence of time and space, just merging with Liang who was passing through. It's worthy of being a high-dimensional thing. Even an intelligent system for cultivating professionals can even affect reality in the low-dimensional world. Liang sighed in his heart, clarifying the purpose of the God Trainer system with 1 heart and 2 purposes. The reason why the system has relatively low access rights is that the existing use is very simple. That is to domesticate animals and allow them to evolve. As a host, it can inherit a talent from the animal. Taming opportunities can be refreshed once a day, and evolution requires evolution points. The evolution point must be obtained from items that contain energy. Liang asked the system in his mind according to his understanding when playing the game. The system should be able to generate the specific attributes of the human body, right? Ding, body testing. The next second, a virtual interface appeared on Liang's retina. Trainer Liang, physical strength 3, speed 26, strength 32, spirit 27, lifespan 24 years 79 years, taming point 10. Refreshed every day, can be accumulated, evolution point 0. Ability none. Scanned and determined, ordinary human body is 1, a domesticated beasts none. Very simple character attributes, even the skills learned by Mu Liang's previous special forces, did not show up. Mu Liang raised the corner of his mouth and whispered softly, "However, I can live to be 79 years old, which is beyond my expectation." "Mu Liang, would you like to stay?" Mino didn't hear what was said, but when he saw Mu Liang smiled, he thought he was willing to stay. "I'll help you pay taxes." Mino didn't wait for Mu Liang to reply, so he hurriedly packed his things, for fear of hearing the voice of rejection. The girl put the 7 little lizards back into the bag and picked out 5 dried lizards from the wooden box, leaving 3 dried lizards as food. Mino looked up and looked at the tortoise in Mu Liang's hand. It was given to her by Big Sis to eat the bugs in the wooden shack. 1 turtle can trade 10 little lizards. There are still 33 little lizards. Mino quickly calculated it in his heart with a slightly bent mouth and exclaimed, "In 3 days, as long as you get more stone traps, you will definitely be able to collect the taxes for both of us. Mino, this tortoise can't be handed over." Mu Liang shook his head, interrupting the girl's plan. "Why can't you hand it in?" Mino was stunned, then reacted. The girl was pale and depressed and asked, "Mu Liang, are you still reluctant to stay? Can this turtle be given to me?" Mu Liang answered the question. "Huh, you want this tortoise?" Mino was dumbfounded for 3 seconds. The girl didn't hear Mu Liang say to leave. She felt happy again and waved her hand generously. "Yes, the little tortoise will give it to you." Mino put down the cloth bag, tilted his head a little bit distressed, and muttered in a low voice, "Without the little turtle, there are still 43 little lizards. Are you going to set up traps farther away?" Mu Liang watched the girl awkwardly drawing a map of the surrounding area on the ground and pondered meditation about where to set traps to catch more small lizards. He smiled silently, looking at the turtle in his hand. He felt very warm in his heart. "System, tame the tortoise in my hand," Mu Liang ordered in his mind. Ding, level 0 life tortoise detected taming. Ding, the taming is successful when you consume 10 taming points. When Mu Liang heard 2 voices in his mind, he saw the tortoise in his hand glowing with white light. The tortoise was slowly growing in size, and he quickly placed the little tortoise on the ground. "Make a little room." Mu Liang pulled the dazed Mino back 2 or 3 steps. "What's the matter?" Mino looked warily at the wooden shed door. Soon, she was attracted by the tortoise that was getting bigger in the pale white light on the ground. Mino was shocked and lost his voice. "Why is the tortoise getting bigger? Is it a fierce beast?" The girl's face changed when she thought of terrible things. Mino quickly pulled out the bone spur from his waist and rushed to stab the tortoise to death. "Don't move, it's okay." Mu Liang hurriedly grabbed Mino's arm, and the newly domesticated tortoise was stabbed to death by the girl. That's why people didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Mu Liang, kill it soon. If it transforms into a beast, we will all die." Mino had seen a scene of fierce beasts raging, and now he feels scared when he thinks about it. "Don't worry, the tortoise has been tamed by me." Mu Liang calmed the girl. At this moment, the tortoise has completed its transformation. From the original palm size, it has become almost a meter in length and width by visual inspection. The small and cute tortoise has a very hideous head, and the dark brown tortoise's shell is bumpy, as if carrying a rock on its back. Ding. Level Tortoise Evolution, Rock Tortoise Level 1, Tame. Mino blinked and asked cautiously, "Really, it doesn't bite?" "Of course, I will show it to you." Mu Liang raised his hand and beckoned to the rock tortoise, conveying the meaning of own in his mind. After the successful domestication, he established a Dao heart spiritual connection with the rock tortoise, and could perceive the rock tortoise to release the meaning of being close. The rock tortoise crawled over, rubbing the probe against Mu Liang's palm, squinting his eyes to express closeness. "Look, I didn't lie to you, did I?" Mu Liang motioned to the girl that the rock tortoise had a rough head as if it was touching a rock. "How did you do it?" Mino widened his eyes, covering his mouth, and exclaimed. "You forget the awakened can do such a thing." Mu Liang said something lightly. "A wasteland-like apocalyptic world. Animals and plants have been upgraded, and they are collectively referred to as fierce beasts. And people have also been upgraded, but upgraded is not as big as animals and plants. There are 3 types of upgrades for people: awakened, abnormal, and strengthened. Awakener, only 1 in 10,000 people with various abilities. Mutant, only 1 in 1,000 people. The strength of the mutant is determined by the talent. Strengthen oneself by external force, which is also the mainstream power system. The above simple information was learned by Mu Liang from Mino. "Huh, Mu Liang, you are the awakened." Mino's eyes were dull, and he didn't react to this astonishing news for a while. "Yes, my ability to awaken is to domesticate animals." Mu Liang nodded lightly. He was able to domesticate animals, and sooner or later he would be exposed, so he decided to pretend to be an awakened one. "Mu Liang, you are too great." Mino recovered, grabbing Mu Liang's arm, stammering excitedly, not knowing how to express his emotions. The girls have heard from Big Sis before that there are no awakened people in their camp, but only a few enhancers and mutations. Be quiet, don't let others hear. Liang reminded with a chuckle. Yes, yes, you can't reveal your identity. Mino covered her mouth cutely and nodded again and again. The girl is also caught in another new trouble. Liang is an awakened one. Will he stay in this small camp? Liang looked at the girl who suddenly became quiet for some reason and did not bother her. He asked in his mind, System, doesn't it mean that it can inherit an ability to domesticate animals? Ding, whether to inherit the rock turtle talent, earth rock thorn. Inherit, ding, earth rock spike is being improved. Adapted, inheritance completed. Liang listened to the mechanical sound in his mind, and then the deep part of his brain was light and comfortable, and there was a warm current flowing throughout his body. System, open my character attributes. Trainer Liang, physical strength 6 speed 4-3, strength 5 spirit 8-7 lifespan 24 years 100 years. Taming point 0 refreshed every day can be accumulated evolution point 0. Ability Earth Rock Spike level 1, ordinary human body is 1. Domesticated beast Rock Tortoise. Level 1 talent Earth and Rock Thorns. Level 1. After Liang read the property panel, he was shocked. The 4-dimensional attributes of the human body have been enhanced, and even the lifespan has reached 100 years. If the rock tortoise is allowed to evolve, can its lifespan reach 1,000 years? Even Wanian. It is not impossible to think about it. The domestication point will be refreshed every day, and new animals can be domesticated all the time. As long as he inherits new talents, Liang's lifespan and 4 dimensions will be strengthened. What kind of ability is Earth Rock Spike? Liang didn't see the introduction on the panel, so he decided to try it himself. He thought of launching a stab from the ground rock, and he saw the ground uplift a few meters away, and the long pointed rock with his palms protruded. The rock tortoise tilted his head, his emerald green eyes looked at the tip of the rock in question. The power is okay. Used to surprise the soles of the enemy's feet, it can make people lose their mobility. If you knock a person to the ground and make another earth rock stab, it will definitely be a fatal blow. Liang's military literacy is thinking about how to make the most of his acquired abilities. He checked the human attribute panel. The activation ability would consume physical energy and mental energy. It can be activated about 6 times in total, and it will consume all energy. It is conservatively estimated to use it 3 times, and you need to reserve some physical strength to deal with emergencies. Liang immediately grasped the dividing point. What he is thinking about now is another matter, how to obtain energy-containing items, which is related to the strengthening of the rock tortoise. Set a goal first, and turn the rock turtle into the level of the holy beast black tortoise. Liang, you are the awakened, how could you faint that day? Mino suddenly raised his head and asked. I was bitten by a venomous beast. Liang put out the excuse he had already thought of. It is impossible for him to reveal the identity of the traverser, no one would say it. Then you are going to leave after healed. Mino was emotionally disappointed. After thinking for a while, the girl also wanted to understand. Liang is an awakened one who has questions that will not stay and knows the answer from the time she has been avoiding her questions. Well, I will go. Liang nodded lightly. No matter when, he will leave the camp one day. Only when Liang goes outside can he domesticate new animals and obtain items with energy. Mino bit his lower lip and asked bitterly, when will I leave? In 2 days. Liang decided to stay for another 2 days. Because his body has been strengthened, he is now fully recovered, even stronger. The reason for staying for another 2 days is to find out if I can find items with energy in the camp. So fast, can't you stay a few more days? Mino wanted to cry but resisted the expression of not crying, begging to look at Liang. You forgot, the tax will be paid in 3 days. Liang raised his hand and wiped the charcoal on the girl's cheek. The girl pretends to be a boy, which means smearing some charcoal on her face. Then he wrapped his head with a piece of cloth and put on a large gray tattered dress. I will catch the little lizard, you have to believe me. Mino's little hand gripped Liang's hand tightly, eagerly assuring. Then I ask you a question. Liang asked gently, if 2 days later would you like to go with me? I wish. Mino stopped halfway through. The girl remembered the big sis she had left and what she said to her when she left. I must wait for me to come back to find you. You don't have to answer me now and tell me the answer in 2 days. Liang calmed down softly. We only knew each other for 5 days. Let the girl and him leave the place where they lived for a long time and accompany him out to stray. It is also a bit difficult. Yeah. Mino nodded softly, his small face tangled up and his heart was in a mess. Are you walking with Liang, or stay and wait for Big Sis? If one is missed, the two may not meet again. One missed it, maybe you won't see Big Sis forever. So hard, the next day the sky was bright. Mino woke up and stared blankly at the wooden shed. Last night I was thinking about whether I would leave with Liang, thinking of insomnia, and fell asleep unconsciously after a few hours. Sniff. Mino wrinkled Joan's nose and smelled a scent of meat. The girl turned her head and looked over. There was a little charcoal burning in the fire pond. There was an iron pot hung on the wooden frame of the fire pond, and the fragrance was floating from it. Wake up, get up, and eat something. Liang held a spoon and gently stirred the contents of the iron pan. Mino was lost for a moment. She had prepared breakfast before. She questioned after a while, "Is your body already healed?" "Well, it's all right." Liang said lightly, "Breakfast is compressed biscuits and boiled small lizards. It is a dark dish, but it can fill the stomach. Compressed biscuits are one of several things that Liang brought from the earth when the ground cracked." "Oh." Mino sat quietly on the edge of the fire pit. "I'm full, I'll go hunting with you." Liang put the breakfast in the iron lunchbox and handed it to the girl. To leave the camp for a long journey, he had to prepare some food, and there were few compressed biscuits left. Good. Mino obediently took the iron lunchbox. The girl knew this iron lunchbox, which was in that backpack. She wanted to take it to pay taxes 5 days ago, but later she was reluctant. Liang saw that the girl's mood was not very high and did not comfort her. He took the inner layer of the lunchbox, filled some lizard meat and boiled it, and ate breakfast quietly. Quiet tilde tilde, the two ate their breakfast quietly. Minuo pursed his lips, secretly looking at Liang's profile. The girl didn't know why. Suddenly she couldn't find the topic. She couldn't talk as much as before. Crack. The rock tortoise pulled its feet on the ground, and its emerald green eyes stared at Liang. Mino saw the rock tortoise and immediately found the topic. "What about this tortoise? It will go out with us." Liang couldn't worry about letting the rock turtle stay in the camp. Level 1 rock tortoises are not strong, and people find that they will be slaughtered and eat meat. Moreover, rock tortoises also need to eat, and they can hunt for food by themselves outside. That's it. Mino nodded slightly. The atmosphere was quiet again, and there was no topic anymore. After breakfast, the two took the important things in the wooden shed so that no thief would come in. Mino's house is just a wooden shed built with animal skins and dead wood. The wooden shed is located on the edge of the camp, just suitable for 2 people to leave the camp secretly. Rock tortoises are not crawling fast, that is the speed of ordinary people walking, but the tortoise shell is like a brown rock, which is an excellent camouflage. After leaving the camp, the two of them headed north. According to the introduction of the girl, there is a hilly area to the north with many small lizards. On the way, Liang also saw other figures, but they all avoided from a distance. He could guess the reason. It was fear of being robbed of food or something. After all, in the world of apocalyptic wasteland, in order to survive, it is possible to be backstabbed at any time. The rocky hill is not far from the camp, and the two quickly reached the foot of the nearest hill. "Little black tortoise, go find food by yourself." Liang knelt down and patted the rock turtle on the head. He named the rock tortoise Black Tortoise, which can be regarded as an expectation. "Oh tilde tilde," the rock tortoise arched Liang's palm, then chose a direction and crawled slowly. "It won't get lost, will it?" Mino asked worriedly. "No, there is telepathy between me and Little Black Tortoise." Liang smiled. Domesticated animals can communicate with him intentionally. Mino breathed a sigh of relief and raised his finger forward. "The trap I made is at the foot of the hills ahead. You go to see the trap, I'll see what prey is nearby." Liang decided to split into 2 ways. The prey he wanted to catch was not a small lizard. There was too little meat to fill his stomach. "Okay," Mino said softly. "If you have something, you call me loudly." "Okay." Liang nodded lightly, picked a direction opposite to the rock turtle, and walked away. "Oh tilde tilde, why are you irritable today?" Mino sighed sadly, patted his cheeks with both hands to refresh himself. Liang paused, then strode away. He was strengthened by the rock turtle, his 5 senses became stronger, and the girl's sigh was audible. The girl is so sentimental, especially if she is alone for a long time and suddenly someone is with her, she wants to keep it firmly. Liang doesn't plan to comfort Minuo. If the girl doesn't follow him away, the gentleness given now will only hurt her more. It's really desolate, just like the Great Gobi. Liang stepped lightly and scanned the surroundings sharply. He sighed with faint emotion. "I don't know how the people here have lived for a long time." Sand tilde tilde, the sound of sand falling to the ground instantly caught Liang's attention. He stared at a rock wall not far away, and after a careful scan, he saw the animal that caused the sand to slide. "A little lizard is climbing a rock wall. I can't let you go if I see it." Liang drew the saber from his waist and quickly pierced the little lizard's head. Puff! The little lizard is dead. San tilde tilde, suddenly a small lizard appeared on the rock wall and climbed up immediately. Little lizard that changes color. Liang was stunned for less than a second, then quickly reacted, raising his hand to the little chameleon and pressing I. The first time was not pressed, and the second time I pressed the chameleon lizard. Unexpectedly, the little lizards here are not the same species. Liang looked at the little chameleon lizard struggling in his palm. The other little lizards were twice as big in size. The most surprising thing is that there are 3 colors of red, green, and blue on the skin of the chameleon lizard. Ding, a domesticable animal is detected. Do you want to domesticate it? Ding, a domesticable animal is detected. Do you want to domesticate it? Trainer system prompt sound. Liang suddenly felt that the color-changing ability of the color-changing lizard seemed to be quite good. Moreover, today's domestication point has also been refreshed, and it is already possible to domesticate a second animal. Every day after 12 o'clock in the morning, the taming point will resume at 10 o'clock. Liang ordered, tame the chameleon lizard. Ding, level 0 life chameleon lizard detected domesticating. Ding, the taming is successful when you consume 10 taming points. The chameleon glowed with white light and no longer struggled, but shook its feet and paws comfortably. After 3 seconds, the chameleon morphed into the size of a palm, and its scaly skin became green, red, and blue stripes. Ding, whether to inherit the 3-color lizard talent, mimic change color. Inheritance. Liang nodded lightly. Ding, the mimicry discoloration is being improved. Adapted. The inheritance is complete. Liang feels his skin is cold and there is a slight warm current in his body. System, turn on the character attributes. Liang felt that after taking a look at the character attributes, he knew if there was any change. Trainer Liang, physical strength 6'2", speed 4'5". Strength 5'1", spirit 9, lifespan 24 years 110 years, taming point 0, refreshed every day, can be accumulated, evolution point 0. Ability Earth Rock Spike level 1, mimic discoloration level 1, ordinary human body is 1, domesticated beasts. Rock Tortoise talent, spurs from the rock. Level 1, 3-color lizard talent, mimic change color. Level 1, the 4-dimensional attribute has only increased a little bit, is the bonus of the tricolor lizard due to talent. Liang activated his ability to mimetical discoloration. A cool touch came from his skin and the light around his body changed. The whole process takes almost 1 second. Liang's eyes turned, and he noticed that his clothes, shoulders, etc. were all turned into the rocky yellowish yellow, brown, etc. 10 seconds, 1 minute, 10 minutes. Liang stayed still, testing whether there is a time limit for mimic discoloration. Half an hour passed. It seems that there is no time limit for the time being. Liang moved his hands and feet and found that his body's mimic discoloration dissipated, revealing his own color. It turns out that it is the discoloration achieved by the disassembly of light. As long as the human body moves, the mimicry discoloration ability will be invalid. Liang understands the advantages and disadvantages of the mimicry change ability. He couldn't help raising the corners of his mouth, sighing, such an ability to be beheaded and lurking is really strong. Go, you hide around me. Liang put down the lizard in his hand. Level 1 3-color lizard is not strong, so for the time being I can only keep it by my side as a pet. The 3-color lizard looked up at Liang, quickly climbed up the rock wall, and followed not too far away. As long as it stands still, it will disappear from people's vision. If you have an offensive talent in the future, you can definitely become an Assassin Creed lizard. Liang thought evilly. He pulled the saber from the rock wall, put the dead little lizard in his pocket, and then searched for the prey. It took more than 2 hours to find it, and the harvest was all small lizards. Occasionally find a few poisonous scorpions and small insects. Liang didn't want to eat these things, he would only eat them without food. These are all mouse holes. Liang found several caves and looked at the footprints left by the cave entrances. He intends to let the tricolor lizard get into the hole when he drives the mouse out. Liang's sensitive ears heard a sound of footsteps. From far to near, the direction was on his side. Many years of Special Forces career. Liang quickly made a reasonable judgment, leaned against the rock wall and launched a mimic change to hide. In less than a minute, a familiar and a little unfamiliar figure appeared in his field of vision. Speaking of familiarity, that figure is Mino. But if you are not familiar with it, Mino actually has a pair of long blue rabbit ears on top of his head. Hurry up and don't let her run away. You are dead, you dare to snatch our prey. Don't let us catch you, Daddy will definitely kill you. The 4 people clamored for cruel words, chasing and killing the girl, holding bone knives and wooden spears in their hands. A group of stinky not wanting face. Mino shouted angrily, when did the prey caught by my trap become yours? The girl ran and cursed with extra aura, which was clearly easy to do. Liang waited for the girl to run past without blocking the first three chasing people. Wait until the fourth person to run past him. Liang suddenly probed his hand, grabbed the chin of the fourth person in front of him, and took advantage of the running inertia of the person, grabbing his head and pressing it down on the ground. Crack tilde tilde. With a soft sound, his neck was twisted. The fourth person's mouth was covered, and he couldn't even make a sound before he died. It took Liang less than 2 seconds to solve one person. He got up and chased after 3 people who didn't notice. Using the same technique, Liang eliminated the next person. The remaining 2 people did not hear the shouts, panting, and running of their teammates. When they noticed something was wrong, they stopped immediately and turned their heads to look behind them. Who are you? What did you do to them? The 2 of them held the wooden spear bone knives tightly and scolded in panic. Liang stopped and was 4 meters away from the 2 of them. Mino heard the shouts of the 2 behind him and turned his head curiously to look over. Huh. The girl opened her mouth in astonishment. She didn't expect Liang to appear behind. She took the 4 of them to bypass Liang's direction and finally met. Mino shouted, Liang, run. It turns out that you are accomplices. The 2 people who followed heard the shouts and suddenly relaxed. They are afraid of encountering hunters who specialize in scavengers. Kill him first. The man who took the lead with the wooden spear rushed forward first, piercing Liang's chest with the wooden spear in his hand. Liang leaned sideways and flexibly avoided the wooden spear, using his inertia to get close instantly, hitting the leader's chest with an elbow. Click tilde tilde, the sternum of the leading wooden spear broke and the whole person flew out, lying on the ground vomiting blood. Originally, Liang's physical fitness was 3 times that of ordinary people. Coupled with the strengthening of the rock tortoise, it has almost doubled. Liang puts a little effort. Ordinary people are not his opponents. You strengthener. The person holding the bone knife took a long time holding the bone knife with a pale face and stopped in front of Liang. He does not advance, nor does he retreat. Liang, run away, Mino shouted eagerly. At this time, the girl had already rushed over and kicked the person holding the bone knife. Thump tilde tilde, the person holding the bone knife was kicked to the ground and was shocked when he saw his companion who was vomiting blood. You can't kill me, I'm the Bloodbeard boss. The person holding the bone knife immediately reported to own backstage in order to deter them. Who is Bloodbeard? Liang asked blankly. Mino had no expression on his dirty face and said solemnly, Bloodbeard is a thief leader nearby. He often robs small camps and tribes or block roads. Humph tilde tilde, you better let me go. The person holding the bone knife, the rogue spy, was shocked when he saw the 2. The thief spies suddenly became arrogant and arrogant. Otherwise, when the boss attacks your camp, he will definitely kill both of you. According to past experience, as long as the name of the Bloodbeard boss is reported, most people will not embarrass them. Wait, you just said to attack our camp? Liang narrowed his eyes. Did I say something? The thief spy's expression changed and he suddenly hesitated. Are you 4 spies? Liang said indifferently. No, we just came out to hunt. The rogue spy shook his head in panic and denied. If the Bloodbeard boss knew that he had leaked the news of the attack on the camp, he would be tied to a rope and dragged to death on the ground. When will we attack our camp? Liang picked up the bone knife next to him and pressed it against the thief spy's chin with a very calm tone. I will only ask once. If I am not satisfied, this bone knife will pass through your chin until it reaches yours. Brain. I. The thief spies looked at the young man in horror, and he could tell from his eyes that the other party was not joking. It seems that you are willing to go to the underworld with your loyalty to Bloodbeard. Liang's mouth was slightly tilted, and the bone knife in his hand moved forward. No, I say everything. The thief spy raised his chin and yelled in horror, I really don't know when Bloodbeard will attack your camp. I only know that he has such a decision, so I sent us people to investigate the situation. I really don't know when. Liang's voice fell cold. I really don't know, but it usually takes no more than 3 days. In order to survive, the thieves' spies even spoke out the unspoken rules of the thieves. Continuing, Liang asked a few more questions, just when the rogue spies breathed a sigh of relief. Click tilde tilde, Liang suddenly made a move and twisted the neck of the rogue spy. Bloodbeard actually stared at our camp. Mino grabbed Liang's arm with his little hand and asked in a panic, Liang, what should I do? How many people are there in the camp? How many are women, children, and elderly? Liang asked. Mino thought for a while, pursing his lips. There are about 300 people, and women, children, and the elderly account for almost half. Let everyone flee, you are not the opponent of the thieves. Liang shook his head. He interrogated the rogue spies and knew that there were more than 500 people under Bloodbeard, all of whom were powerful thieves. The small camp of 300 people, half of whom were elderly, women, and children, could not withstand the attacks of thieves. Even if they were lucky enough to win, it is estimated that few people survived. Escape? Where to escape? Mino asked blankly. This is not what I am worried about. You tell your chief what is going on here, then it will be what they should think of. Liang squatted down and searched on the rogue spies. Mino asked urgently, then, will the chief believe what I say? There is a high chance that you won't believe it. Liang thought for a while and said. After all, a small transparent in a camp suddenly went to the leader and said that a thief was going to attack the camp. He still didn't know when to attack, how many people believed it. It may be believed at first, but the request is that if the thieves do not come a few days later, no one will believe the girl's words. Whether they believe it or not, I have to say it. Mino bit his lower lip. The camp is also her home, and it is impossible for her to watch the camp be destroyed. Okay, leave this to me. Liang interrupted the girl's determination. He has already figured out a way, just talk to the camp leader at night. If it was before, it would be more troublesome to sneak in. Now that he has the ability to mime change color, I can talk to the leader of a small camp without any pressure. Liang, have you thought of a way? Mino exclaimed with joy. Well, a little thought. Liang said that after searching the clothes of the thief spies, he found only a little dried meat. He went on to search for the thief spies who vomited blood, and the other party had only one last breath. Then is there anything I can help? Mino leaned forward and asked. Liang said lightly, think about it, would Haoshan go with me? Yes, I will go with you. Mino responded with a smile on his face. The camp was gone, and she had no reason to stay. What's the situation with the bunny ears on your head? Liang glanced at the top of the girl's head, her long ears shaking from time to time. No wonder girls usually wrap their heads in a turban, which turns out to be to hide the rabbit ears. Hee, I am a mutation, and this rabbit ear is the place of mutation. Mino smiled embarrassedly and stretched out his hand to pull the bunny ears on the top of his head. What's the ability? Liang asked curiously. Can hear farther sounds. Mino tilted his head and said softly, the other thing is that he runs faster and jumps higher. Rabbit's ability. Liang understood. It's no wonder that the young girl has lived alone until now and dares to come out to catch the little lizard by herself. To be able to live alone in the apocalyptic wasteland is a bit capable. I'll help you search the other two people's things. Mino ran to touch the corpse, really poor. After Liang searched the corpse, he still found some dried meat. Wow, there will be fierce beast spar. The girl heard a joyous voice. Liang, come here, there is something good. Liang lowered his head and glanced at his own hand. Is this the girl's luck? He came to the girl and took the thumb-sized white prismatic spar. Ding. If the energy body is detected, does it transform the evolution point? Ding. If the energy body is detected, is it transformed into an evolution point? Liang's eyes lit up, and it turned out that the beast spar is something that the system needs to contain energy. He couldn't wait to order in his mind, transform. Ding, the transformation is successful and the evolution point is obtained, 100. The voice in Liang's mind did not fall, the fierce beast spar turned into water and it fell into the palm of his hand and disappeared. Huh, where's the fierce beast spar? Mino's eyes widened and looked at the back of Liang's palm in surprise. The girl's face was almost stuck in the heart of Liang's hand, but she still didn't understand how the fierce beast spar disappeared. Okay, this is my other ability. Liang grabbed the girl's face amusedly. Hearing the name of ferocious beast spar, he knew that the spar was produced in the body of the ferocious beast. Knowing how to obtain evolution points, Liang has a goal to obtain. What a magical ability, Mino said in surprise. I'm going to search for another person to see if there is a fierce beast spar. The girl rushed towards the first rogue spy who was killed by Liang. System, how many evolution points does it take to evolve a domesticated beast to the next first level? Liang asked in his mind. Ding. It takes 10 evolution points to evolve from level 1 to level 2. Then how many evolution points do you need to upgrade to level 3? Ding, it takes 100 evolution points to evolve from level 2 to level 3. Unexpectedly, it has risen tenfold. Liang shook his head helplessly, still thinking of giving priority to evolving a level 3 domesticated beast. He thought of summoning the rock tortoise to come and converge, preparing to evolve the rock tortoise to level 2. Come here, Xiaokai. Liang waved to the rock wall not far away. 3 color lizards emerged on the rock wall and rushed over quickly. Liang pressed his palm on the tricolor lizard and ordered, System, evolve the tricolor lizard. Ding. Level 1 tricolor lizard evolves to level 2, deduct 10 evolution points. Ding, level 2 tricolor lizard has evolved successfully. Ding, deploy the trainer's mimic discoloration ability to synchronize level 2 mimic discoloration. Soon, Liang felt the familiar warm current spreading in his body again. His body is strengthened again, even the abilities are synchronized, which is quite convenient. Liang said with emotion. He looked at the appearance of the three-color lizard, but there was not much change. That is, the body has become 1 meter long and already has a strong attack power. If ordinary people don't pay attention to being attacked, they can be bitten to death all at once. Only a little jerky. Mino returned with a palm-sized piece of jerky. She saw the big lizard in front of Liang, her blue eyes gleaming. The girl licked the corner of Ai's mouth unconsciously. Hiss tilde tilde, the three-color lizard stared at the girl vigilantly, uncomfortable being stared at by the girl. Well, this is the pet I just domesticated today, not for food. Liang grabbed the girl's bunny ears angrily so as not to be slaughtered by a knife. Tilde tilde Miniman's iSense ears were pulled and she made a humiliating low. Ahem. Liang quickly let go, seeing the girl's bunny ears. He had the urge to grab a hand, but I didn't expect that the girl's reaction was a little big. Don't pull my ears. Mino blushed, pouted into satisfaction and yelled, I'm not a pet. Yes. Liang waved his hand in response. Don't say it, it feels pretty good. Well, he decided to have a chance to play again. I heard the footsteps of rock tortoises. Mino's ears trembled and he was surprised. It is coming towards us. I asked it to come and meet. Liang looked at the girl's rabbit ears in surprise. Only when he has a spiritual connection with the rock tortoise can he feel the distance of 200 to 300 meters between each other. The girl actually came to the sound of such a far away and can remember to distinguish the footsteps of the rock turtle. This is very powerful. A few minutes later, the rock tortoise came to the two of them. System, Evolution Rock Tortoise. Liang pressed one hand on the rock turtle's head. Ding, level 1 rock turtle evolves to level 2, deduct 10 evolution points. Ding, level 2 rock turtle has evolved successfully. Ding, deploy the trainer's Earth Rock Spikes ability to synchronize the level 2 Earth Rock Spikes. After Liang received the synchronization enhancement, Mind opened the character attribute panel. Trainer Liang, physical strength 10.5, speed 8.8, strength 9.6, spirit 16, lifespan 24 years to 60 years. Taming point 0 refreshed every day, can be accumulated, evolution point 80. Ability Earth and Rock Spike level 2 Mimic Discoloration level 2 Ordinary Human Body is 1 Domesticated Beasts Rock Tortoise Talent Spurs from the Rock level 2 3-color Lizard Talent Mimic Change Color level 2. The 2 domesticated beasts evolved to level 2 and Liang's 4-dimensional attributes almost doubled. Especially the lifespan has reached an astonishing 260 years. This is the life expectancy of many people and Liang has obtained it so easily. The tortoise has changed again. It has grown bigger. The girl shouted in astonishment. Liang looked back at the rock tortoise and found that the changes were really big. The rock tortoise, which was 1 meter in size, is now more than 10 times larger, almost the size of a room of 10 square meters. Wu tilde tilde the rock tortoise uttered a happy voice, and a head larger than a wash basin squeezed towards Liang. Okay, good for nothing. Liang raised his hand to hold the rock turtle's head, coaxing like a child. If the current rock tortoise stood up, it would be more than 3 meters tall. Liang, you are amazing. Mino's blue eyes shone with worship. No one would believe that the giant rock tortoise in front of him was a slapped tortoise yesterday, but now it has become so huge. P.S. Update description. The new book term is updated at least 4 times a day. More flowers, evaluation tickets, monthly tickets, and rewards will be added. Minuo, how does the little black tortoise compare with the fierce beast in your impression? Liang turned his head and asked. He needs a reference to understand the strength of level 2 rock turtles. Little black tortoise. Mino was stunned only to realize that it was the tortoise's name. She bit her lower lip, pondered for a while, and said uncertainly, in terms of body size, black tortoise should be smaller. Liang nodded. The advantage of the rock turtle is that it is big enough. The disadvantage is also in body shape, which means that the speed is slow and not flexible enough. The rock tortoise's talent, Earth Rock Piercing, can just replace the shortcomings of large size. Liang, can I climb on its back and have a look? Mino blinked his blue eyes and asked eagerly. Of course it can. Liang chuckled lightly. He passed on to the rock tortoise the idea that the two wanted to go to the turtle's back. Wu tilde tilde. The rock tortoise uttered a low cry, and the long rock thorns on the side of the tortoise's shell suddenly contracted, and the ground uplifted a piece of rock to form a stone staircase. Wow, little black tortoise can understand us. Mino's eyes shone in surprise, looking at the 2-meter-high rock stairs. Can understand me. Liang took the lead to walk to the rock stairs and climbed onto the rock tortoise's back. The rock spines on the rock turtle's back were also retracted, leaving a flat area of 7 or 8 square meters in the center of the tortoise's back. There is a circle of half-meter long spurs on the edge of the tortoise shell, which form a natural fence. I'm interested. Liang praised the rock tortoise with thoughts. Wu tilde, the rock tortoise happily responded with compliments. Little black tortoise is so smart. Mino climbed onto the turtle's back and looked back to see the rock stairs retract to the ground. The girl looked left and right, looking at the flat turtle shell. Mino jokingly said, Liang, do you think we can build a house behind the little black tortoise? It seems not impossible. Liang's inspiration flashed, and he felt that what the girl said was okay. After all, there will be more and more domesticated animals in the future, and it is a bit inconvenient to stay in human gathering places. You can't sleep in the wilderness. Especially the current size of the rock tortoise, if it evolves, it will definitely get bigger and bigger. The turtle is big, but it can be used as a place to live. Mino looked at Liang thinking about it, and he asked, You don't really want to build a house on the turtle back, do you? Not yet, the place is too small. Liang came back to his senses and said with a light smile, However, it is still possible to build a wooden shed for the time being. Should we really live on the turtle back in the future? Mino confirmed excitedly. What do you think of owning a mobile house? Liang crossed his hands, raised his eyebrows and said, We don't have to hurry. Mino jumped up happily, looking forward to, at that time we can travel around like adventure hunters. Or she can search for Big Sis while traveling. Liang, let's make a fire pit on the back of the turtle shell. Will it burn the little black tortoise? No, there is stone protection. Liang, let's get a lot of things up. Will the little black tortoise feel too heavy? Add 100 of you, it won't feel heavy. Liang leaned on a rock thorn and looked at the girl's excited plan. He suddenly felt that with such a lively and cheerful girl with him, it seemed to be very good. Mino yelled crisply, Liang, let's go back to the camp quickly. I want to take down the wooden shed. Don't worry. Liang shook his head amused and reminded, Don't forget the rogue attacking the camp. I was so excited that I almost forgot. Mino stuck out his tongue embarrassedly. She came to Liang, clutching the hem of her clothes, weakly saying, If it's too dangerous, let's leave tomorrow. Although the girl is kind, she is also very selfish and only cares about the people around her. Mino didn't want Liang to take risks, especially when he had a new life he had been looking forward to. There is no danger. Liang looked up at the gray sky and saw a beam of sunlight shining down in the distance. After a while, the sun was blocked by clouds again. Liang is just a reminder to the people in the camp if you don't believe it. Haoshan, he will leave with the girl. In such a world, we must do our best to send kindness. By the way, how is your relationship with the people in the camp? Do you have friends? Liang still doesn't know the girl's social circle very well. A few people who have caught small lizards together, the relationship is okay. Mino turned his head to look into the distance and said nonchalantly, I'm hiding the others. Little buddy? Liang asked softly. It should probably be considered. Mino's eyes were a little erratic and he scratched his cheek sly. She thought of the few people who had caught the little lizards together. They didn't catch as many little lizards as her, and she wanted to grab her little lizard. The girl, as a mutant, the result can be imagined. Those few people were beaten and cried by her, but she was robbed several times. After that, those few people kept avoiding her. It doesn't seem to be a partner. Liang saw the girl's performance and understood what was going on. It can also be seen from this that the girl's previous life was very difficult. Therefore, he is Miner's first friend. Evening, Liang Minuo returned to the camp wooden shed. Today's harvest is so much. Mino squatted by the fire, playing with the little lizard happily. A total of 45 small lizards were captured today. 23 small lizards were caught by tricolor lizards, and the rest were caught by the two. In addition to the small lizards, 3 slap-sized mice were also caught. Liang sharpened his saber and asked, Have you always eaten little lizards? Yes, occasionally if you are lucky you can eat a little hare meat. Mino replied without raising his head. Today it was really a bumper harvest, and she usually only caught 2 or 3 small lizards. Are you full? Liang's saber sharpening hand paused. Full. Mino tilted his head for a moment and said distressed, I don't know what is full. I haven't eaten enough, how do I know what it's like to be full? Liang listened to the girl's sad words and then faced the girl's dazed and probing eyes. He was inexplicably irritable and threw the saber sharpening stone. What's the matter? Mino blinked his blue eyes blankly. It's okay, I'll go to the camp for a stroll. Liang inserted his saber back into the scabbard around his waist. He is going to find out about the situation in the camp and then publicize the robbers' attack. Well, relax by the way. Be careful, Mino exhorted. She has to stay to deal with the little lizards and dry them into dried meat so that they can be stored for a longer period of time. Okay. Liang took his backpack, hit the wooden shed door and hid in the shadow of the surrounding wooden shed houses. Now in the evening the sky is already dark. There is no moonlight in the sky. Such a dark environment is just right for Liang to act. The smell of barbecue was exuding in the air, and the leaking cracks in the wooden shed house revealed a little light. But it was more quiet, with the sound of sleeping breathing coming from some wooden shed houses. After all, if you can't eat enough, do less activity and sleep more. Liang learned from the girl that there is a hunting team in the camp, which is responsible for hunting some wild animals in the distance. For example, hares, tortoises, wild dogs, and so on. The food from the hunt is distributed to those who work for the camp leader. As for the rest, the leader will not take care of it. You have to pay taxes if you live in the camp. This is a bargain between the leader and the hunting team to protect everyone. Living alone in the wild is very dangerous. You will be attacked by wolves or encounter beasts. In Liang's view, the most important thing to make people in the camp willing to pay taxes is that the water source is controlled by the leader. Those who pay taxes can get a piece of water that makes people not dying of thirst. One of the main reasons Liang came out at night was to prepare more water for Haoshan's trip. The camp is not big, but it is divided into inner and outer layers. There is a fence made of wood and stone on the inner layer, where the leader and the hunting team live. The outer layer is for people who pay taxes like girls to live. The 2-meter-high fence Liang easily turned over, avoiding the patrollers. The smell of roasted meat wafting through the air in the inner layer is very strong, and the firewood is also very strong. Liang occasionally passed some wooden houses, and there were still reverie sounds from inside. In such an environment, you are not afraid of getting sick. Liang murmured in his heart, plugging back the pulled-out stone. The leader's house is in the middle of the camp. Liang walked around the house and was surprised to find that the house is more than 400 square meters in size. It is the size of a basketball court. Really luxurious. Liang sighed. I also understand what the people working for the leader in the camp are doing. Liang picked a remote corner and easily climbed into the leader's house. He fell silent. There was a burning fire in the room and the light was actually not very dark. It should be a side house here. Liang murmured. He listened to the discussion from the depths of the house and judged his position. After observing for a while, Liang found that there were 7 or 8 maids. He followed one of the maids holding the clay pot to a guarded room at the door. Liang stayed quietly in the shadow of the corner, coupled with the ability to mime change color. He was not afraid of being spotted at a distance of a few meters. Glancing around, he found that this room didn't even have a window, and the only entrance was the door. Not long after, the maid came out holding the clay pot filled with water, escaped the hand of the gatekeeper, and left in anger. Liang temporarily remembered the room where the water was placed, and followed the maid again to a bright hall. There are 4 people in the hall, eating dinner at this time. The maid put the clay pot on the table and did not immediately fill the people around with water. Instead, she caught a hare, cut her throat with a dining knife, and dripped blood into the pot. Liang suddenly lost interest in that jar of water and was about to leave to explore other rooms. The conversation between the 4 people caught his attention. Go down. The middle-aged man sitting in the first place waved to the maid. He used an earthenware bowl to directly fill blood from the earthenware pot and poured it into his mouth. The maid bent over and stepped out of the hall. Boss, do we really want to leave here? As long as we less water the vegetables, we can support it for several months. Watering those vegetables is a waste. After the maid left, the other 3 people spoke up. Those vegetables are enjoyed by the leaders and only a little bit out occasionally. The 3, of course, are dissatisfied. Boom! The leader suddenly slapped the tabletop and said coldly, "Don't go, stay here and wait for death." He poured a bowl of blood into his mouth again and said in a low voice, "The water in that underground well will last for another 10 days at most. If the time comes, everyone will die of thirst. It's too difficult to find a new source of water." One of them whispered, "We can move to the Yuetan tribe, they should accept us." Another person said, the last person agreed, "I agree to go to the Moon Lake tribe, we can join their hunting team." The leader's face was cold and refused. "Impossible, I would not agree to go to the Moon Lake tribe." If a camp leader goes to other tribes, he is afraid that he will not even be a small leader. He is absolutely reluctant to get used to being a master and let him be a slave. Then where shall we go? I don't want to die of thirst. If I can't find the water source, I will take my family to the Yuetan tribe. The 3 said in dissatisfaction. I have sent someone to find the water source. If there is no result after 5 days, we will go to the Moon Lake tribe. The chief looked at the three in front of him, his eyes flashing with killing intent. Okay, then we will wait another 5 days. The three of them ate the barbecue, poured a few bowls of blood, and got up and left. Liang stayed quietly in the corner, watching the whole process coldly. He had no idea that the camp was running out of water. Moreover, there are vegetables which surprised him. Agu, the leader, shouted to the outside of the hall. Here, a very ordinary young man came in. How did you do what I ordered you today? The leader asked with a sullen face. Boss, I haven't seen a man with a blood beard. Agu gritted his teeth and said, I waited on the agreed hill for a day, but I didn't see any of them. Impossible, I personally talked about a good thing with Bloodbeard. The leader stood up suddenly. He looked at Agu with a forceful look and said murderously, You really didn't see the Bloodbeard on that hill? Chief, I don't dare to lie to you. Agyukyang couldn't stand back. Humph, that may be something delayed. The leader stared at Agu for a while, restrained his murderous intent, and ordered, You go to that hill tomorrow, tell them that the plan is ahead and the time is set in Haoshan. Yes. Agu replied respectfully, Go down. The leader waved his hand. Yes. Agu bowed his head and exited the hall. Boom. The leader suddenly overturned the table and his throat roared like a beast. A bunch of damn bastards actually want to get out of my palm. He said hoarsely, I still want to go to the Moon Lake tribe. If you don't obey, then go to death. Since the underground well in the camp no longer produced water, someone in the hunting team proposed to join the Yuetan tribe. The 3 people who ate dinner with him today are the 3 captains of the hunting team. At dinner, the 3 of them were testing him. The obedient dog before now wants to leave. Originally, I wanted to bring you to join Bloodbeard. The leader sat on the chair with a sneer at the corner of his mouth. Now it seems that some people can already give up. Looking for water, it's just an excuse. According to the plan he discussed with Bloodbeard, he waited for the thieves to attack and kill some people outside the camp. As the leader, in order to protect the people in the camp, he pretended to be forced to join the Bloodbeard with the hunting team. With dozens of people from the hunting team, he has a certain right to speak in the Bloodbeard thieves. Bloodbeard got a staff expansion as well as some women. The leader gained power and became one of the captains of the Bloodbeard thieves. Liang's black eyes flashed with coldness, and he resisted the urge to go up and erase his neck. Ironically, the Bloodbeard was attracted by the camp leader. Fortunately, he wanted to remind him of the attack of the Bloodbeard thieves group, but he did not expect to hear such a heart-crazy remark by accident. With the unscrupulous nature of the band of thieves, some old and weak women, children, and girls can imagine what a cruel future is. If the girl did not meet the 4 thieves and spies today, she decided to stay in the camp instead of leaving with him. What would be the consequence? Liang shook his head, shaking off the extra thoughts. He recalled the girl's dirty smile and then glanced at the leader who was talking to himself. Liang decided to sentence the scum to death. He stepped out of the darkness, silent like a ghost. Avoid the reflection of the flame along the wall lest the shadow be exposed to light. In the end, Liang came behind the leader. Damn B****************************************************** D. Why not be an obedient dog? The leader raised his head and leaned on the back of his chair, getting more angry the more he thought about it. Liang tilted his head indifferently, glanced at the woolen cloth on the arm of the chair, took up the towel and rolled it into a strip. The daughters of those 3 people seemed to be pretty good. When the leader imagined how to clean up the disobedient dog, his mouth was held up by the towel. Ooh. He struggled with fright to think of getting up, but Liang stuck his neck with his arm from behind. Welcome to the underworld, Liang said lightly. Ooh. The leader panicked, his eyes wide, and pulled the arms around his neck with both hands. He was horrified to find that as a strengthener, he didn't even shake the arm holding his head at all. Goodbye. Crack tilde. Liang easily twisted the leader's neck with a knife in his arm. The leader withdrew all his strength, his head dropped weakly on the armrest, and he stared at the entrance of the hall. Why bother? Liang shook the towel away and threw it on the leader's head. After solving the boss, he leisurely searched the hall and picked up a few iron knives on the ground. Liang didn't pick it all and threw all the iron products into his backpack. Has anyone else used it? It's okay. He can find a time and go back to the furnace to remake. There are still a lot of good things. Liang untied several long knives and long swords hanging on the wall, wrapped them in cloth pieces, and tied them back behind him. He searched the hall and entered the leader's room. Oh, this scumbag will enjoy it. Liang raised his eyebrows and found that the furnishings in the room were more luxurious. There are 3 wolf head specimens hanging on the wall of an unknown animal skins mattress, and a delicate long knife is placed on the bedside table. Liang spread out his hands, took the lead with a delicate long knife tied behind him and opened the drawer of the bedside table. There was a wooden box inside. He lifted the lid of the wooden box, which contained 7 beast spars of various sizes. Found it. Liang raised the corner of his mouth, gathered the fierce beast spar, and held it firmly in the palm of his hand. Ding! If the energy body is detected, is it transformed into an evolution point? Transformation. One of the main reasons Liang came here was to find the beast spar. Ding! Successfully transformed and gained evolution points, 340 points. A person is not rich without windfall. Liang shook his head and said with emotion. In addition to the original 80 evolution points, he now has 420 evolution points. All can evolve 3 level 3 domesticated beasts. Papa, this wooden box also has a hidden compartment. Liang scratched the bottom of the wooden box with his fingers and found that the sound was hollow. He used a saber to pry open the plank at the bottom of the wooden box and saw a cloth bag inside. After opening it, he found that it was a seed. It's actually vegetable seeds, so it's no wonder it's put in the secret. Liang was pleasantly surprised to tie the cloth bag and stuff it into his backpack. In the wasteland-like apocalyptic world, the seeds of green plants represent one of the important hopes for the revival of civilization in the future. After searching the room, Liang opened the closet next to Bedeye and found another surprise. 5 rolls of cloth of different colors are neatly placed in the closet. There is a lot of stuff, it seems we have to find a helper. Liang took 5 rolls of cloth out of the closet and touched his chin, thinking about how to transport it out of the house. There are many things in the leader's room that I want to move away. Who made Liang cross over? There is nothing, some life products, in this wasteland world. There is nowhere to buy if there is money to buy it. Little Kai, sneak in secretly. Liang used his mind to summon the tricolor lizard, secretly protecting the girl, and let it come and move things. The rock tortoise cannot be summoned. The 3-color lizards are coming. Liang packed up the things to take away, including 5 rolls of cloth and a bundle of swords. Looking through the closet again, he saw that all the things used by the leader, some clothes, quilts, etc. He doesn't want anything he has used. There is a new wolf skin here. Liang opened the last closet and saw the whole wolf skin inside. He took it out and found that the corners of the wolf skin hadn't been dealt with. At first glance, he hadn't used it. I'll just say 3 wolf heads, how can there be no wolf skin? Liang rolled up the wolf skin, put it aside, and whispered softly, this way you don't even have to worry about the quilt. After finishing his things, he looked up at the ceiling. The 3-color lizard came very quickly. There is no need to climb the wall to hide from people like Liang. It uses its claws to clasp the ceiling and climbs over. Come down, help move something back. Liang waved to the 3-color lizard. Hiss tilde tilde, the tricolor lizard tilted its head and climbed down the wall. It's a little small, it seems I can't carry too many things. Liang looked at 5 rolls of 1 meter long cloth, and then at the 3-color lizard, which was also only 1 meter long. It seems that you have to evolve to level 3 now. Liang raised his hand and pressed the body of the 3-color lizard and ordered the system in his mind. Evolve the 3-color lizard to level 3. Ding! Level 2 tricolor lizard evolves to level 3, deducting 100 evolution points. Ding! Level 3 tricolor lizard evolved successfully. Ding! Level 3 tricolor lizard talent evolution, mimic stealth. Ding! Deploy the trainer's mime stealth ability to synchronize level 3's mime stealth. Liang was familiar with the warm current that appeared in his body, and his body was strengthened again. Stealth. Is it possible to be invisible while in action? Liang focused on his new abilities. He immediately activated the ability off mimicry invisibility, and the surface of his body also changed color with the environment while walking. It's not without shortcomings. There is a delay of about 1 second between color changes. The faster you move, the greater the delay of invisible color changes. This stealth ability moves slowly, and the delay in changing colors is smaller, but it is quite suitable for stealth use. Liang summed it up in his mind and easily tested out the advantages and disadvantages of the new abilities. The point is that being able to be invisible during the action is what makes him most satisfied. After paying attention to his own changes, Liang looked at the 3-color lizard that had evolved again, and its size doubled again. For a large lizard with a body length of 2 meters, the color of the scale skin is no longer a patch, but the color is distinguished by the scales. 1 piece of green, 1 piece of red, 1 piece of blue, it looks colorful. There are several spikes near the head of the tricolor lizard, and the vertical brown pupils look very cold. Ziokai, get you a pair of wings and you can pretend to be a giant dragon. Liang patted the head of the tricolor lizard. His the tricolor lizard tilted its head, wondering what a dragon is. You stay still and help me take these things back. Liang tied 5 rolls of cloth, wolf skin, and a bundle of swords to the 3-color lizard. His the tricolor lizard twisted uncomfortably. Go ahead, let me know help you untie things and you come over again. Liang waved his hand with an unscrupulous smile, letting the tricolor lizard crawl out of the window. His the 3-color lizard's claws clasped the wall and left, easily leaving claw marks in the wood. Hurry up, otherwise the leader's death will be discovered. Liang left the room silently and searched the house again. At this time, the maids were obediently staying in specific places, waiting for the host's call. Horses have no night grass and are not fat. Liang's goal this time was food, and he finally came here. Of course, it would be better to get some food. As he explored, he saw a sneaky person. Huh, isn't that person Agu? Liang looked at the other person's profile and recognized Agu, who had appeared in the hall. He followed a little curiously, wanting to see what the other party was sneaking up on at the leader's house. Agu glanced left and right. After seeing no one, he quietly entered a room. Liang looked in from the crack in the door and was surprised to find that this room was a storage room for food. In addition to Agu, there is also a maid in the storage room. Cheating. A word flashed in Liang's mind, and then it was overthrown. Agu, are you crazy? Take so much meat. The leader found out that he was going to kill. When the maid saw Agu put meat in a cloth bag, she also specially selected a good one. Usually, Agu steals some meat and the maid can help cover it up. With so much meat now, the maid can't hide it. The leader is crazy. He is going to cooperate with Bloodbeard to kill some people in the camp who don't listen to him. Agu growled in a desperate voice. I didn't go to the hill today. I thought I could interrupt the leader's plan. I didn't expect that he would be freak and crazy to contact Bloodbeard in advance. Yes, he lied to the leader when he was in the hall. It was also a temptation. No need to think about the result. You will see when he is ready to run away. Agu thought that not contacting the rogue spies would make them jealous of each other, but he didn't expect the leader to have a personal talk with Bloodbeard before. Suspicion no longer exists. As long as the two sides converge and talk, he will be exposed and there will only be a dead end. Therefore, Agu prepared to run overnight. How can the leader cooperate with Bloodbeard? The maid paled with fright and completely lost her square inch. Agu pushed the maid and urged, go back and pack your things. Good, good. The maid slowly nodded her head again and again. Liang let the maid leave, staring at Agu, who was still holding jerky in the room. The plan can't keep up with the changes. He intends to change the plan he had prepared before. Good days, but I want to be a thief. Agu bitterly stuffed the meat into the bag, stuffing the dried wolf meat that the leader was reluctant to eat. It seems to have taken too much. He saw half-person high cloth bags, less than 100 caddies. At this time, the door of the storage room opened silently. Liang slowly came behind Agu, covering Agu's mouth with a hand from behind and a saber pressed coldly to his throat. Ooh. Agu was still trying to struggle, but he was too frightened to move by the cold in his throat. Don't move, or there will be an opening in the throat. Liang's low and hoarse voice rang in Agu's ears. Agu immediately raised his hands, indicating that he would not resist. You are a smart man, Liang said in a flat tone. You can live by obedient. Agu nodded slightly. Very well, as a reward for your obedience, let me tell you a piece of news. Liang's tone became more and more plain, but it made Agu Zin's hair chill. Your leader, when you left with your front foot, I broke his neck. Liang said in a light tone, what made Agu's heart tremble. Agu's eyes widened in horror, his entire body horrified, and the goosebumps on his arms were standing up. As soon as the front foot left, the leader of the back foot was twisted off his neck. Doesn't it mean that the mysterious person behind him was staying in the hall at that time? Just what you think. I will stay in the hall and look at you. Liang husky voiced Agu's guess. From the beginning, he used the interrogation and intimidation skills he learned when he was a special soldier. Agu made a vague voice. You are a smart person, don't turn your head, don't make noisy noises. Liang slowly let go of Agu's mouth and the saber was also put away. Agu said in a small voice, is there anything you want me to do, Your Excellency? Since the mysterious person said these things to him and didn't kill him immediately, Agu found that the other party was useful to him. No, I have nothing for you to do, Liang said indifferently. Agu's words were stuffed and he was stunned. By the way, I also killed the Bloodbeard spies. Liang said lightly, the Bloodbeard spies didn't go back today. There will be new spies coming tomorrow and they find that the camp leader is dead. Guess what Bloodbeard will do? Guru Agu swallowed in horror. What else can be done, of course, is to bring people over and turn the entire camp into trophies. This is the reward for the news. Liang lightly picked up the cloth bag containing the dried meat. When he walked to the door, he turned his head and said flatly, "I will always pay attention to you, a smart man." Agu's face stiffened and he almost cried, "Can you stop paying attention to me? I'm an idiot." But he dared not say, nor dared to move. Liang didn't care about Agu's reaction if the other party was too stupid to achieve a part of the plan. He asked the three-color lizard to come secretly and told Agu with his paw, "I really follow you." As for the plan, it's just an idea that Liang came up with temporarily, and the specific plan is still being perfected. If there is food, there is no water. Liang stayed in an unmanned room, waiting for the tricolor lizard to come and transport the dried meat back. Hiss tilde tilde, the tricolor lizard crawled in from the window without waiting for long. "No, I should be surprised." Liang's mouth turned upwards and tied the jerky to the three-color lizard. Unexpectedly, he just came to find water and unknowingly moved a lot of things back. Liang sent away the three-color lizards, stepped to the room where the water was released and sneaked past. The guard at the door of the water release room. For those who already have the ability to stealth, it has become very simple. Liang randomly threw a stone at the other end of the corridor to distract the guards. After he approached silently, a hand knife knocked the guard stunned. Liang cautiously pushed open the door but saw no one and dragged the guard into the room. There are torches in the room and the layout can be seen clearly. It turns out that the underground water well is here. Liang came to the center of the room and lifted the laid wooden boards to reveal a well with a diameter of 2 meters. There was a wooden bucket for fetching water hanging beside the well, and it was pitch black in the well and there was no water in it. Wow! Liang threw the wooden bucket into the well and then pulled the rope up the wooden bucket. He found that the water was muddy and there was mud on the sides of the bucket. Sure enough, it's almost dried up. The barrel was put back in place and the wooden board was also covered. Since there was no water in the well, Liang put his idea in the wooden barrel stacked in the corner of the room. Each wooden barrel is about 1 meter high and the size of an adult's arms. Wow tilde tilde. Liang shook the wooden bucket and heard the sound of water, so he carried a bucket full of water on each shoulder. With his current strength, 2 buckets of water are the same as holding 2 pieces of bread. Save a little bit, it should be enough for a while. Liang carried the barrel and left leisurely. On the other side, Agu still didn't dare to move at this time. After all, Liang really frightened him. Da-da-da. The sound of rapid footsteps. Boom, then the door was suddenly pushed open. The original maid rushed in and shouted anxiously, "Agu, the leader is dead." Really dead? Agu's tight body relaxed, his hands and feet weakly supported the table. He asked, "Where did the leader die? How did he die?" "Just in the hall, my neck was broken," the maid said fearfully. "The leader is dead, then he didn't lie to me." Agu turned his mind, carefully recalling what the mysterious person said not long ago. His face changed and he said bitterly, "In other words, the blood-beard spy is also dead. Flee, flee immediately." Agu had only this thought in his mind, turned around and pulled another empty cloth bag and filled the jerky again. The maid was at a loss and asked, "Agu, the leader is dead, do we have to escape?" Agu stiffened after hearing this. Yes, the leader is dead. He didn't need to rush to escape, lowered his head to think about his future way out. Agu thought of the mysterious man inexplicably. Why would he tell him the news that the blood-beard spy was killed? Unless there is another intention. Agu recalled the whole process of contact with the mysterious person and unconsciously said the last sentence. "I will always pay attention to you, a smart person. Follow me, how to follow me? Hidden in the corner and follow me, or follow me in the crowd. But I plan to run away with 2. Agu muttered to himself halfway, his face suddenly turned pale. "So, if I run away alone, will I be killed by the mysterious person?" He wants to understand, and he also knows another meaning of the mysterious person. Agu turned his head to the dazed maid and hurriedly ordered, "Go and call the captains of the hunting team. I have important things to tell you. It's about the lives and deaths of everyone in the camp." I know. The maid looked so pale when she saw her childhood sweetheart for the first time. Was she frightened? Smart man. Agu smiled self-deprecatingly. He wants to flee with the people in the camp. This is the real intention of the mysterious person. Mysterious person, who are you? Time goes back to 10 minutes ago. In the wooden shed outside the camp. Mino swiftly peeled all the small lizards and 3 mice, removed their internal organs, tied them with rope and hung them on the fire pit to smoke. The girls rubbed each other's palms with sand to remove blood stains from their hands. If you don't have water to wash your hands, you can only use sand to clean up dirty things. Why did Liang go for so long? What did he do? Mino's blue eyes stared at the wooden shed door in a daze. It's been a long time. Will something happen to him? It took the girl more than an hour to deal with the lizards and mice. Minuo is idle now, and since he hasn't seen Mu Liang for a long time, he feels a little more worried. In other words, it is lonely and feels insecure. Oh, Mu Liang is so good, surely nothing will happen. Mino shook his little head, resisting the panic in his heart. She focused on the wooden shed, thinking about moving the things in the wooden shed. This pillow has to be taken away, and this quilt made of wild rabbit skin. The wood from the bed has to be removed too, otherwise there will be no bed to sleep. Bring a wooden bowl, and this wooden bucket can hold water. Mino looked at it and felt that he was reluctant to throw anything. Even the wooden shed door wanted to move away. The things in the wooden shed were all collected and built by Big Sis with her. Crack, click, tilde, tilde. Suddenly there was a scratching sound from the wooden shed door, and it was pushed open in the next second. A vague figure squeezed in. Who? Mino's face changed, his reaction was very quick, and the bone spur from his waist was instantly pulled out. The girl retreated to the edge of the wooden shed. Hiss tilde tilde, the three-color lizard hissed a few times, revealing its body from invisibility. You are Zyok. Mino looked at the strange-looking tricolor lizard in astonishment. She hesitated for a while and said, if you are, then you nodded. Hiss tilde tilde, the Sankai lizard didn't bother the girl, twisted her body, and pulled the tied rope with her claws. It's stupid, except for Mu Liang, who else has the ability to get a lizard to transport things over. Mino thought for a while and realized that he was stupid. She put away the bone spurs and said, I'll help you. Seeing the girl approaching, the three-color lizard stopped twisting her body cleverly, letting the 5 rolls of cloth, wolf skin, and a sword untie her body. It turned around and got out of the wooden shed and then carried things for the unscrupulous owner. Hey, where's Mu Liang? Mino shouted quickly. The tricolor lizard left without looking back. Although the domesticated beasts have evolved, they have already developed their wisdom, which is only equivalent to the IQ of 2 or 3 years old. How can they understand the words of a girl? It seems that I don't understand me at all. Mino sighed helplessly. The girl focused on 5 rolls of cloth, wolf skin, and a sword. Mino rubbed the cloth, his blue eyes were shining, and he commented, these cloths are so soft they are made of good animal hair. It's just that, where did Mu Liang get the cloth? 5 rolls of cloth can make dozens of sets of clothes. The girl reluctantly put down the cloth, shook the wolf skin away, and carried it longer than her height. This wolf skin is definitely of the fierce beast level. Mino hugged the wolf skin excitedly and then wondered, how did Mu Liang get these things? She unconsciously guessed, will Mu Liang tell the leader about the attack by the Bloodbeard? These things are the rewards given by the leader. The girl felt that this kind of speculation could also explain the origin of things. After a while, Mino put down the wolf skin and took up the sword instead. Swords like this are only used by hunting team members. Mino felt more and more that his own guess was correct. Crack, click, tilde tilde, the familiar scene happened again, and the wooden shed door was pushed open. The tricolor lizard came in carrying a cloth bag. Mino hurriedly stepped forward, helped untie the cloth bag, and watched the tricolor lizard leave. She opened the mouth of the cloth bag curiously. What's in it? Mino was stunned. This whole bag is full of dried meat. The girl suddenly felt that On's guess was not accurate. A piece of news could make the leader so generous. Mu Liang didn't go to the leader's house to steal things, right? Mino looked down at the jerky in the bag, then turned to look at the 5 rolls of cloth as well as the sword and wolf skin. How could that scrupulous leader reward these things? Mu Liang must have stolen something. Mino quickly tied the cloth bag and held it under the bed so as not to wait for someone to come and search. Just hide tonight and leave before dawn tomorrow. Mu Liang is true, even if we are leaving, don't steal so many things. Why don't you move to the little black tortoise overnight and hide it in the back? Well, this is a good way. When Mu Liang comes back, I will discuss it with him. Mino hid everything, walked around in the wooden shed thinking about how to hide things. Go back? No, it's impossible. The girl had never thought of returning what Mu Liang had stolen based on her ability. Mino knelt on the side of the bed with a fart, his head digging under the bed, not knowing what he was doing. Mu Liang returned to the wooden shed carrying 2 buckets of water and saw the girl like this. He couldn't help but say, "What are you doing?" Yeah, Mino was shocked. Boom! In the next second, the girl's head suddenly hit the bed. Mino wrinkled his pretty face, rubbed the back of his head, and crawled out of the bed aggrievedly. The corners of Mu Liang's mouth raised. Are you okay? What did you do? Mino glared at Mu Liang. There were many questions he wanted to ask, but he didn't know where to start. Go get some food back. Mu Liang said casually. Get some? Mino discovered that there were 2 more wooden barrels on the ground. She rolled her beautiful eyes and said in a maddening voice, Are you kidding me a little bit? You vacated the leader's house, right? No, there are still a lot of things that have not been moved over. Mu Liang denied it. He thought of the things in the leader's house and he had the urge to go back again. However, when Liang came out, he had already seen many people go to the leader's house. It also shows that Agu did not let him down. You really dare to do it? Mino covered his face, but his guess came true. The girl leaned in front of Liang, her cheeks bulging. Mino had a serious face and exhorted, "Before you do these things, tell me in advance so that I can be prepared." She was still thinking about how to hide things and she was almost anxious. "This is because the plan can't keep up with the changes. I just wanted to get some water back." Liang spread his hands as if forced to be helpless. Whoever told him to hear the leader's frenzied words would simply do nothing but kill people. The leader will soon find out that something has been stolen. Mino asked in a low voice, "We hid things behind the little black tortoise, what do you think?" "No need to hide." Liang waved his hand indifferently. "Why, the chief will send someone to search the house." Mino stomped his feet in a hurry and reminded, "There are so many things that we can't hide here. The leader, I have already been killed." Liang said calmly, Mino's blue eyes widened. She looked at Liang in disbelief and wanted to see if she was joking. Real, Liang probably said about the leader's collusion with the blood beard. Good kill. He deserves to die, inhuman bug. Mino was very angry when he heard it. Liang smiled at the corner of his mouth, quietly watching the girl's cheeks bulging, which was quite cute. "Are you looking? What are you looking at?" Mino's face was flushed quietly and rose up. "No, it's nothing." Liang shifted his gaze and said gently, "The people in the camp will move out tomorrow." Mino's blue eyes were shining and he was expecting to ask, "Then shall we follow along?" "No, we have to stay in the camp for 2 more days. Liang shook his head, "But that's too dangerous. People with blood beards will attack them at any time," Mino said with a bit of annoyance. "There is no danger, we just have to wait for the blood beard spies to come over." The corners of Liang's mouth turned upwards, revealing an inexplicable smile. "Wait, what are you going to do?" Mino had a bad feeling. "I am going to steal the Bloodbeard's house," Liang said calmly. "Huh?" Mino opened his blue eyes wide with a touch of stunned and shocked on his face. The girl wondered if she had heard it wrong and she stammered cutely, "Liang, you. You say it again." "You heard that right. I plan to go to the thieves' gathering place and get some good things to use." Liang had this idea when he heard that the leader cooperated with Bloodbeard and asked thieves to attack the camp. Now he intends to lure Bloodbeard to attack the camp. With a plan to move the tiger away from the mountain, Liang went backhand to steal the house and get some fierce beast spar. "Liang, you are crazy." Minuo's pretty face was pale and he grabbed his arm with both hands. She anxiously persuaded, "That is a thieves' group of more than 500 people. If you are not careful, you will die. According to my plan, there won't be 500 people." Liang put up a finger and shook it and asked in a gentle voice, "During the day today were the rogue spies killed by us?" "Yeah," Mino nodded. "No spies are going back today." Liang slowly talked about his own plan. "Tomorrow, Bloodbeard will definitely send new spies. The thieves' gathering place is more than a day away from us, and the spies will not come until Haoshan." Liang remembered the information obtained during the interrogation of thieves and spies during the day. He continued, "Haoshan, we are going to pretend that everyone in the camp has just escaped. Minuo, if you are Bloodbeard, would you send someone to chase you?" There was a faint smile on the corner of Liang's mouth. "It should be." Mino hesitated. "You think it will? Then the rogue spies will rush back to report that day if they see such a situation." Liang stretched his hands and said lightly, "At this time, Bloodbeard Ken will feel that he has been tricked by the leader. You don't have to think about it and know that he will bring someone over for revenge." "It seems so." Mino nodded in surprise. But in fact, when Bloodbeard rushed over, the people in the camp had already left for 3 days, and Bloodbeard could not chase after it. Liang believes in himself. "At this time, there are not many people in the thieves' gathering place. That's when we went to steal the house." This trick is the time difference, making Bloodbeard think that the talents in the camp will leave for more than a day. The point is how to hide from Haoshan's thieves and spies so that he thinks that the talents in the camp escape. "Are you sure?" Mino asked worriedly. "It's okay to fail, it's just a waste of 2 more days." Liang shook his head indifferently. "It was originally an attempt. If it succeeds, there should be no less fierce beast spars and maybe a level 4 domesticated beast can be evolved. Move up quickly and pack things quickly. Don't move those useless things, just take your food, clothes. And just take it with you." Before dawn, the hunting team persuaded everyone to move. Boom, boom, boom. The wooden shed door was knocked and the hunting team started shouting without asking to come in. "The Bloodbeard thieves are about to kill. We are going to take refuge in the Moon Lake tribe." With just one sentence, the hunting team left. Mino was awakened, looked at the wolf skin he was wearing, and his heart was warm. "They are really early." The girl grinned and yawned sleepily. Get up for breakfast. Liang woke up earlier. When did you sleep last night? Mino asked curiously. When she slept last night, she saw that Liang was not asleep and she had been writing and painting with charcoal by the fire pond. Mino was still shy for a long time, thinking about whether to let Liang sleep with her. About midnight, Liang said softly, stirring the broth in the steel pot. For breakfast today, I ate stewed meat soup. It smells good. Mino wrinkled Qiang's nose and sniffed. She came to the fire, her blue eyes gleaming at the broth tumbling in the steel pot. Afterwards, Mino frowned distressedly and said, let me cook breakfast later. What's the matter? Liang was stunned. Cook too much, save some food. Mino put his hand in his hips and shook a finger. Don't worry, the remaining jerky is enough for us to eat for 20 days. Liang handed over the iron lunchbox full. Last night, the girl insisted on eating small lizard jerky, and it was estimated that she was 30% full. Cook according to the thinking of the girl, it is estimated that everyone eats a 3-point full. It's too much. You have to save these for the evening. Mino said in his mouth but couldn't help taking the lunchbox with his hands. Eat barbecue jerky at night. Liang smiled. Mino put a spoonful of hot soup into his mouth and exhales with his mouth open. Be careful and be hot. After Liang blew cold, he slowly ate a rare decent meal. It's delicious. Mino swallowed the soup and his blue eyes suddenly narrowed. The rich meaty flavor opens up the palate and the warm soup moisturizes the throat. Take a bite of the soup to fill the girl's hungry stomach. It's been a long time. I haven't had the broth. Mino pursed his lips, his blue eyes misted. In the past, when Big Sis was there, they only boiled the broth once in a while. Drink as long as you want. Liang raised his hand to wipe the tears from the corner of the girl's eyes. Mino shook his head and pouted, that's not good, it's always too extravagant to drink broth. We usually drink water, right? Liang asked softly. Yeah, Mino sucked a pretty nose. If you cook the broth, there is water to drink and soup to drink. Liang raised his mouth and asked softly, do you think it is more worthwhile? It seems like this. Mino tilted her head dumbly and she always felt that something was wrong. Liang smiled and waved his hand, urging, the broth should be hot, it won't taste good when it's cold. Yeah, Mino smiled and crooked, eating the broth every bite. Inside and outside the wooden shed are like two worlds. The two are eating breakfast leisurely. But everyone in the camp hurriedly packed their things. It's full. Mino couldn't hold back in the end and ate all the broth. The girl pursed her lower lip and looked a bit guilty at the iron lunchbox in her hand. Mino wanted to save half of it for the night, but I didn't expect that the more I ate, the more I wanted to eat it. Take one more bite and stop eating, take another bite and stop eating. And then it's gone. How does it feel to be full? Liang said gently. It's very comfortable but too extravagant. Mino said with a reddish cheek. The food eaten in this meal is equivalent to 10 little lizards. Don't worry, let me take care of what you eat. Liang got up and touched the girl's head. The girl saved his life, so she can't make her full. Mino blushed a little at a loss, opened his small mouth but didn't know how to respond. Liang held his palm empty, pretending to be dissatisfied and said, remove the turban, the rabbit ears will not be touched. What, I'm not a pet. Mino pouted dissatisfiedly. The girl hesitated for a while, then raised her hand to unwrap the cloth strips covering the rabbit ears. Liang couldn't help but raised his mouth slightly when he saw the girl's hands. Mino saw Liang's smile, and his pretty face turned red again. She turned her head, Sundir tilted her chin up. I just let the ears come out to breathe, not for you to touch. Yes, Liang suppressed his smile. Humph, Mino snorted softly. She shyly changed the subject, expecting to ask, are we going to live on the back of little black tortoise today? The girl has been longing for a new home, a moving house. Don't rush to move, we haven't even built the house yet. Liang wanted to upgrade the rock tortoise to level 3 first, so that the turtle's back would be more spacious, so that it could build a decent house. Of course, he has to see how big it is to evolve to level 3 rock tortoise before he can plan how to build a house. Then shall we build a house now? Mino's blue eyes shone with light. Let's go. Liang took the lid and walked outside the wooden shed. Wait, what about the things at home? Mino thought of the items that had been shipped back last night. Everyone in the camp is leaving today, maybe someone will come in and steal something. I let Xiao Kai stay at home. Liang pointed to the corner of the wooden shed. Mino turned his head and looked over and saw a 3-color lizard that was 2 meters long emerging from his invisibility. She nodded relievedly. Then I can rest assured. The two got out of the wooden shed and left the camp from a remote place into the desolate wilderness. At this time, the rock tortoise was looking for food, and the mouse hiding in the cave came out with a ground rock burr. When Mu Liang and Minuo found the rock tortoise, there was a spur of rock around the nearby hills. Wu, the rock tortoise, cried out aggrieved when seeing the owner. Are you hungry? Mu Liang was stunned. He couldn't help feeling a headache because of the meaning conveyed from the rock tortoise. Little black tortoise is hungry. Mino opened his small mouth. The girl stared at the giant rock tortoise blankly. How much food does it take to be full? Ding. Consume 1 evolution point every day to feed, which can solve the hunger problem of domesticated beasts. Mu Liang didn't have a good air in his heart. System, you said it earlier. Want to feed the rock tortoise of such a large size, even he would be hungry. System, stretch your head over, I will give you some energy to eat. Mu Liang beckoned to the rock tortoise. Energy? Mino stared at his blue eyes curiously. Wow, the rock tortoise hissed and his huge head squeezed over. System, evolve the rock tortoise, fill it up by the way. Mu Liang put his palm on the rock tortoise's head, thinking to order the system. Ding, level 2 rock turtle evolves to level 3, deducting 100 evolution points. Ding, level 3 rock turtle evolves successfully. Ding. Level 3 rock turtle talent evolution, earth rock burst sting. Ding, deploy the trainer's earth rock burst ability to synchronize the level 3 earth rock burst. Mu Liang's body has been strengthened once again and the rock turtle's talent has also been advanced. System, view properties. He wants to see how much his own lifespan has increased. Trainer Mu Liang, physical strength 22, speed 21, strength 21, spirit 32, lifespan 24 years for 20 years, taming point 10, refreshed every day, can be accumulated, evolution point 219. Ability, earth rock burst level 3. Mimic stealth level 3, ordinary human body is 1, domesticated beasts, rock tortoise talent, burst thorn in the ground. Level 3, 3-color lizard talent, mimic stealth. Level 3, I don't know what the basic attributes of the enhancer are, compare me with how it is. Mu Liang's closed mouth with a smile and a lifespan of more than 400 years was completely unthinkable before. Mu Liang, look at little black tortoise. Mino stammered at his clothes. Mu Liang recovered and looked up. The rock tortoise has grown bigger again. If it was the size of a room of 10 square meters before, it is now the size of a house of 100 square meters. Uo the rock tortoise roared vigorously and stomped the ground with its feet. Boom. A 1-meter rock thorn protruded from the ground, and then it exploded and sprinted out and hit the rock wall 100 meters away. Boom. The rock wall shattered as if it had been bombarded by a cannonball. Mino Rabbit's ears stood upright and his blue eyes were dull, looking at the rock tortoise's masterpiece. Mu Liang raised his eyebrows with a smile and said with satisfaction, finally I have long-range attack capabilities. Little Mrs. Black Tortoise. Too amazing, too cool. Mino was so excited that he didn't know how to describe it. There are always so few adjectives for girls. Mu Liang conveyed his idea to the rock tortoise and shouted, Little black tortoise, send us up. The current rock tortoise stands more than 6 meters high. It is difficult to climb up by climbing, not to mention that the surface of the limbs is covered with rock spurs. Wu the rock tortoise lay down, and the steps formed by the rock rose from the ground to the back of the tortoise. Mu Liang took the girl, strolled up the stairs, and came to the turtle back again. It's so spacious. Mino happily turned around, looking at the turtle's back that was about 10 times larger. Mu Liang looked at the figure of the girl running on the turtle's back as light as a butterfly. He asked curiously, Mino, what kind of house do you plan to build? Ask me. Mino stopped blankly. Well, what kind of house do you like? Mu Liang asked in a different way. What kind of house do you like? I have to think about it. Mino squatted down in distress and the rabbit ears on his head were all entangled. The expression of rabbit ears is also an expression of emotions. Mu Liang looked at the girl's rabbit ears with interest. He had the urge to grab it. Mino thought for a while, then raised his head weakly and said, Mu Liang, should we build it into a wooden shed? Think about it again, the wooden shed is too simple. Mu Liang said with a chuckle. Mino said with a wry face, I can't think of it. Then come and take a look at the house I drew. Mu Liang took out a piece of cloth from his trouser pocket and spread it out on the back of the turtle. Mino leaned closer and looked at the pieces of cloth on the ground. She looked at the black pattern on the cloth and liked it the more she saw it. The girl suddenly turned her head, her blue eyes fixed on Mu Liang, and excitedly asked, Can our house be built like this? Of course. Mu Liang responded with a smile. The house plan on the cloth piece was drawn by him last night. A very simple house with 2 bedrooms, 1 living room and 1 bathroom plus a small yard. This house is good, but how to build it? It needs a lot of stones, right? The rabbit ears that Mino had just erected with excitement suddenly softened. Don't forget, whose back are we staying now? Mu Liang smiled and stomped on the back of the rock beetle, passing an idea. Some rectangular stones are needed on the back of the tortoise. Tilde, the rock tortoise neighed received. The rock tortoise controls the rocks in the surrounding hills and lifts it up and transports it on the turtle's back. Blocks of bricks, rectangular stones of different sizes, were stacked on the backs of rock turtles. Little black tortoise is too powerful too. Mino's blue eyes exuded brilliance. Next, we will place the stone bricks according to the orientation on the drawing. Liang rolled up his sleeves and took out charcoal to draw a line on the turtle's back. Rock tortoises don't know how to read pictures, and building a house is a bit difficult. Black tortoise, unless the wisdom of the rock tortoise will be higher in the future. Leave it to me, Mino shouted enthusiastically. Fortunately, the little black tortoise can control the rock, otherwise it would be really difficult. Liang's mind gave a compliment to the rock tortoise. In fact, the rock spines on the rock tortoise shell can also be used to build houses. However, the rock tortoise has a limited number and thickness of stone armor, which is the defense it carries. If it is used to build houses, it is a bit turning the cart before the horse. It's better to get some stones on it, and then use the ability to integrate it and eliminate the step of using cement, and it can also be firmly on the turtle's back. The weight of this rock is also negligible for the rock tortoise. To build a house, you need to lay the foundation, use reinforced concrete, and so on. These are the houses built by ordinary people. After Liang had the rock tortoise as a domesticated beast, 90% of the process was eliminated. The foundation has a rock tortoise shell and the ability to control the connection between the stone armor and the stone, which can save cement and steel. The rest is mechanically built stone bricks. Just build the walls. It's amazing. Mino held the stone brick and placed it on the drawn black line. She found that the stone bricks merged into one with the stone bricks, and there was no gap at all. Minuo, don't stack the wall over there too high, leave a window. After Liang drew all the lines, he found that the girl had already piled up a wall by one person. He came to the girl and used his power to tear down a few stone bricks to make a square window. Thieves will come in this way. Mino reminded weakly, living in the camp, everyone has no windows and the protection is for thieves to crawl in and steal things. The average thief can't climb up. Liang twisted his fingers and flicked the girl's forehead. It seems to be two. Mino rubbed his forehead blankly and then realized it. She was already living on the tall and mighty little black tortoise, and she was afraid of a thief. Liang fixed the window, then turned around to get the door. These plans, he doesn't refer to the girl. He is afraid that he can't even understand the internal drawings. He only has the outline drawings in his eyes. The two rooms are opposite the door, each of which is about 10 square meters in size. In the middle is the hall, which is 30 square meters. The toilet is set in the corner of the yard, and the drainage channel is connected to the ground so that the smell will not rush into the room. The wall of the yard is symbolically raised to a height of 1/2 meter, and the gate is set on the side of the turtle's back. Liang set up a special signal for the rock tortoise, and with some specific actions, he can summon the rock stairs. Time is passing slowly, especially when working attentively without any sense of time passing. In the evening, the starting point of the clouds on the horizon was orange and red. It's already so late. Liang looked at the house without a roof and felt an inexplicable sense of accomplishment in his heart. Wow, it's finally half done. Mino cheered, his blue eyes gleaming. She clenched her small fist and cheered sweetly. Let's work harder and we can finish it today. Liang shook his head and said, the roof needs some wood support to make it easy to stack stone bricks. Then let's find the wood. Mino hurried down to the ground. You don't need to look for it, there is ready-made wood. Liang grabbed the girl's back collar. Ready-made wood, Mino thought, tilting his head. You said the people in the camp, are they all gone now? Liang reminded faintly. At this time, his mind had contacted the three-color lizard, let it patrol the camp to see if anyone stayed behind. It's getting dark now, so I should have already left. Mino was not stupid and immediately thought of something. She stared at her blue eyes and yelled in a crisp voice, we can go and use the wood in the camp. Let's go back to the camp. Liang gave an order to the rock turtle. Woo. The rock tortoise moved slowly towards the camp. What? Mino stood still for a while and said in amazement, little black tortoise is walking but it doesn't feel like it will move. Little black tortoise is controlling the vibration. Liang said softly. How can it not shake? The larger the object, a single vibration can trigger a series of changes. So it's like that, Mino suddenly realized. The rock tortoise is not fast, which can make it larger. One step is equivalent to a few steps for ordinary people, but faster than ordinary people in speed. 10 minutes later, the rock tortoise came to the edge of the camp. At this time, the camp was empty, and the conclusion was obtained from the investigation of the three-color lizard. Everyone is gone. Mino felt a little sad. She stood on top of the rock tortoise looking at the camp where there was no more fire. How far is the Yuetan tribe from here? Liang asked calmly. I've heard from the hunting team that it seems to be going for 5 or 6 days. Mino said softly. Liang thought of Bloodbeard and curiously asked, are there many people in Yuetan tribe? There are probably 10,000 people, I don't know if it's true. Mino exclaimed. 10,000 people are too many for a girl. How much food and water are needed to feed 10,000 people? It seems to be a big tribe, but is it true? Liang patted the girl on the shoulder and said calmly, then we will go to the Moon Lake tribe to see if it is true. Huh. Minuo was stunned and asked cheeringly, are we really going to the Moon Lake tribe in the future? Do you want to go? Liang looked sideways at the girl's blue eyes. Mino met Liang's black eyes and received encouraging gazes. She bit her lip, nodded heavily, and yelled clearly, I want to go, I want to see where Big Sis is. Then our next target is the Moon Lake tribe. Liang grinned and gave a thumbs up. Mino looked at Liang's clear smile, his heart beating faster without knowing why. She covered her heart with her hands at a loss, her cheeks flushed. Don't be in a daze, hurry down and clean the wood. Liang raised his hand and grabbed the girl's rabbit ears. Oh, don't pull my ears. Miner suddenly exploded and stomped his feet in dissatisfaction. What little emotional throbbing was distracted by this twitch. One after another, the chase came to the ground in a riot. Which house do you want to demolish? Liang stood in front of the camp and asked the girl. Demolition of those houses, their children have snatched my little lizard before. Mino hesitated for a second, then raised his finger to several houses. Then we only need big roots of wood. Liang took the lead and said, just move the wood to the little black tortoise and it will help us carry it up. Okay. Mino went to tear down the house with interest. Boom. With Liang's current strength, it is very easy to demolish the house and it is easy to pull the big wood away. You can carry 5 or 6 logs at a time. You don't need a lot of wood to build the roof, but you need a lot of reserves for firewood. After a while, a corner of the yard of the new house was filled with wood. If the wood is transported enough, the roof is short of E******n. Due to the grooves on the wall in advance and the strength of Liang, it took about 10 minutes to complete the wooden structure. Liang, I'll lay the stone bricks and you will pass me the stone bricks. Minuo lightly climbed onto the roof. Be careful and stand firm. Liang handed the stone bricks and exclaimed, knowledge. Mino happily laid the stone bricks, already imagining what it would be like to live in a new house. When the stone bricks were laid halfway, it was dark. A bonfire was lit in the yard and the two went on to work. 1 hour later, the roof of the house was completed. Then the rock tortoise connects all the stone bricks into one body and it is not afraid of water leakage when it rains. Finally finished. Mino jumped off the roof excitedly. She clenched her hands into fists happily. She was excited all day, but now she can calm down and face the new house. Let's start moving and move everything over. Liang patted the girl on the shoulder. Yeah. Mino nodded his head heavily. When moving, girls don't have a lot of things. Just a pillow, a wooden board for making the bed, 2 wooden bowls, a wooden bucket, and a wooden shed door. The wooden planks for making the bed, Mino intends to lay it on the own bed. Yes, the girl also took away all the wooden shed doors and prepared to install them on the door of her own room, which can be regarded as a thought. In the end, except for the wooden shed itself that did not want to be taken apart and could not be taken away, everything else was moved away. Liang stood at the door of the wooden shed without saying a word, holding the torch. He watched Mino holding his pillow, standing still in the middle of the wooden shed. Liang did not stop the girl's behavior. For Mino's big sis, he did not hold out much hope if he could find it in the future. The girl left some items that the sisters had lived together. Isn't it a kind of alternative companionship? Let's go. Mino bit his lower lip, hugged the pillow, and turned around. After this trip, I really don't know if I can come back again. Liang didn't comfort him, and now everything he said was pale. He took the girl to the rock tortoise. In the dark night, even if the wooden shed could not be seen, the girl secretly looked back several times. Wait to get back on the rock turtle's back. Mino showed a happy smile on his face and started running in and out of the room. The girl hugged the pillow, leaned in front of Liang and asked excitedly, is this room really I live alone? Yes, you can arrange it whatever you want. Liang smiled affirmatively. Tilde, I'll clean up the room. Mino let out a sweet, crisp laugh and ran into the room again, affirmed, clean up tomorrow. Liang looked at the things piled up in the yard and hall. He was already hungry, so he decided to fix the fire pit in the hall and prepare dinner. The fire pit is made into a square shape, just like the wooden shed, and then a layer of soil is spread on the bottom, and then a layer of sand is used to insulate it. A smoke exhaust pipe is connected to the roof to form the smoke outlet of the fire pit. The fire pit and chimney are done. Liang clapped his hands and looked at own masterpiece. He joked to himself, the ability to stab the ground and rock is a new way to be used today. Simply make a hanger, hang the steel pot, pour water to stew the broth, and arrange the barbecue. Sniff tilde tilde. Mino shrugged Qiang's nose, his head poked out from the door of the room. She stared blankly at the fire pit and the barbecue and stew on the flame. Where are you, stupid? Aren't you hungry? Liang turned over the barbecue, life without seasoning, what he eats is the original flavor. Of course I'm hungry. Mino would have been hungry and didn't want to move if it weren't for the motivation to build a new house. She sat on the edge of the fire pit, watching the stew and barbecue, opening her mouth to remind her to save the meat. Looking up, Mino saw Liang's dirty face but changed his words. Isn't it okay? Today is a busy day and move to a new house. Eat more as a celebration. The soup has to be simmered a little longer before it has a meaty taste. Liang stared at the girl in surprise. He thought about all the excuses and thought he would be preached by the girl. Didn't you mean that there are thieves and spies coming? Mino was uncomfortable being seen and shyly changed the subject. Then how do we make it look like everyone in the camp has just left tomorrow? If you are a spy, you come to the camp. Liang turned the barbecue and asked softly, how do you tell when everyone left? For some things he couldn't give the answer directly, he had to give the girl some thoughts. In the future, both of them will live together. Liang will teach young girls a little bit of some wild survival skills and experience. I think about it. Mino pursed his lips, his rabbit ears entangled, thinking about meditation. When she lowered her head to think, she saw her own feet and her toes moved. I see. Do you look at the footprints? Mino raised his head excitedly and shouted. Yes, the depth of the footprints can calculate the time when a person leaves. Liang nodded appreciatively and then said, but apart from footprints there is an easier way to judge. What method? Mino blinked his curious blue eyes. The burning degree and temperature of charcoal. Liang taught the girls what they learned from the army. Knowing this, you usually observe how much time the charcoal burns out and how long it takes for the soil under the bonfire to completely cool down. You can calculate the time for people to leave. I understand, Mino nodded ignorantly. Eat quickly, you can work hard when you are full. Liang handed a skewer of grilled meat to the girl. Okay, Mino absently took the barbecue, still thinking about what was just now. Snapped. Liang bent his fingers and flicked the girl's forehead. Yeah, Mino exclaimed cutely, concentrate on eating. Liang filled a bowl of broth and stuffed it into the girl's hand. Oh, Mino pouted and took the wooden bowl grievously, after dinner. The two of them took a break and then came to the camp. Mino held the torch, a little afraid of the quiet camp in the dark. You go there, I go here, we meet in the middle. Liang held the torch and said to the girl, wait a minute, Xiao Kai will follow you. Okay, Mino relaxed a lot when he heard the big lizard following her. You don't need to pile a lot of wood. Liang exclaimed. Okay. Mino nodded and entered the camp with a torch. I thought I would be courageous. Liang looked at the back of the cowering girl. His courage was not much different from some ordinary girls. He entered some houses with a torch and piled firewood into the fireplace. Now prepare the pile of wood in advance, get up tomorrow morning and light the fire. Then wait for the rogue spies to come up and investigate. As for whether he can successfully lure Bloodbeard to chase and kill, everything will be known by tomorrow. Time is passing by stacking firewood. This house has been unoccupied for a long time. Holding a torch, Liang entered a room full of cobwebs. He stopped and was about to withdraw back when he saw a spider hanging down. It seems that today's 10-point domestication point is useless, or just domesticate a spider. Liang probed his hand and grabbed the spider, and the familiar sound of the system sounded. Ding, a domesticable animal is detected. Do you want to domesticate it? Liang calmly ordered, Tame. Ding, level 0 life redback spider detected taming. Ding, the taming is successful when you consume 10 taming points. Liang loosened his palm and saw a spider the size of a tail finger, which had become the size of a palm. The whole spider appears black and the ends of its claws are red. The most striking thing is that there is a red face on the spider's back. Ding, do you inherit the red ghost spider talent, spider silk perception? Inherited. Liang received the new ability for the third time. Ding, spider silk perception is being improved, adapted. Inheritance completed. Liang felt a little warm in his fingers and palms, and that was all. Is my body already very strong? That's why the fusion of the ability of low-level domesticated beasts is not obvious. Liang only had such a guess. He also glanced at the system attribute panel and found that the enhanced attributes were only a few tenths more. System, strengthen the red ghost spider to level 3. In order to verify his own guess, Liang decided to evolve a level 3 domesticated beast. Ding. Level 1 red ghost spider evolves to level 3, deduct 110 evolution points. Ding, level 3 red ghost spider has evolved successfully. Ding, level 3 red ghost spider talent evolution, spider silk control. Ding, deploy the trainer spider silk control ability to synchronize level 3 spider silk control. Liang felt the familiar warm current in his body and the strengthening effect was not strong. He opens the system to view the properties. Trainer Liang, physical strength 24, speed 23.5, strength 24.2, spirit 35, lifespan 24 years for 50 years, taming point 0. Refreshed every day can be accumulated evolution point 109. Ability, Earth Rock Burst level 3, Mimic Stealth level 3, Spider Silk Control level 3, Ordinary Human Body is 1, Domesticated Beasts, Rock Tortoise talent, Burst Thorn in the Ground. Level 3, 3-Color Lizard talent, Mimic Stealth. Level 3. Red Ghost Spider talent, Spider Silk Control. Level 3, sure enough the effect of strengthening is much worse. After Liang read the specific attributes, the low-level domesticated beasts and the domesticated beasts of the same level have limited enhancement. For each level of domesticated beasts, the first enhancement is the best and the most obvious. It's a bit too greedy. Liang shook his head with a wry smile, feeling that it is impossible for all the enhancements to be equally obvious. He recovered and turned to look at the red ghost spider hanging on his arm. So, can you go down? Liang's mouth twitched. The 1-meter red ghost spider looked a little scary. Shu tilde tilde. The red ghost spider sprayed its silk, stuck to the top of the house, and easily climbed to the ceiling. Shu tilde tilde Liang followed, reaching out his index finger and spraying spider silk at the firewood in the corner of the house. A transparent spider silk spurted out and instantly stuck to the wood. It turns out that you can perceive the weight of the object, even the shape. The feedback from the spider silk of Liang's fingers gave him an awareness of his new abilities. Toughness is very strong, better than ordinary rope. The stickiness of spider silk was originally caused by the attachment of small silk threads. Spider silk is still transparent, and it's a great material for traps and yin people. After Liang tested it a little bit, he thought of many other uses for spider silk. He raised his head to the red ghost spider on the ceiling and conveyed his own thoughts in his heart. Zioheng, I need you to go to the outskirts of the camp and arrange some spider silks farther away. If someone triggers, he will notify me. Squeak tilde tilde, the red ghost spider made a leather rubbing sound, indicating that he understood. Liang reminded me again with his thoughts. Don't capture people, just notify me when they find them. It would be a bit embarrassing for the red ghost spider to catch the thief spies as prey. Shu tilde, the red ghost spider spun silk and walked away from the roof, still pulling the silk to fly away. Spider-Man. Liang's eyes shimmered, and he was ready to try it. He glanced at the torch in his hand and dispelled the behavior of trying to learn something from the movie-chatting little spider. Liang left the house and piled up the wood pile again. Liang. The girl's nervous voice came from a room not far away. I'm here. Liang came out of the room. It's only a few rooms short of it. Mino trot forward, his nervous heart suddenly relieved. Hurry up and we will go back. Liang glanced at the bunny ears on the girl's head. Is this nervous? Okay. Mino answered obediently. In 10 minutes, the two completed the stacking arrangement of all the firewood in the house. The two walked side by side in the night, neither spoke, but could hear each other's breathing. Except for a little light from the torch, the surroundings are pitch black and the sky can't even see a single star. Hurry back, it's a bit cold. Liang listened to the girl's air-conditioning voice. He reached out and grabbed the girl's hand and trot to the rock tortoise. Okay. Mino was dragged and ran forward. The corners of his mouth rose unconsciously and his small hands clenched tightly. Several voices came in the dark night. Damn bastards, they won't die in the mouth of the beast, right? I hope I died in the mouth of the beast, otherwise the boss will make it difficult for the 4 of them to die. You said, will those 4 bastards be killed by the people in that small camp? They dare? Who dares to offend our boss and kill him? Makes sense. The 3 servants were rushing along the road cursingly. As a spy of the Bloodbeard bandit, it is common to hurry up early in the morning. As long as it is not late at night, the chance of encountering a beast is 90%. In addition, they have a special way to avoid some fierce beasts. The Bloodbeard thieves don't raise waste, and those who don't have much ability can only work as slaves. Slaves who have been abused and manipulated are sometimes more painful than death. How far is it? One of them asked. Dawn should be able to arrive. Why does the boss want to cooperate with the people in that small camp? Just kill the people directly and you can't grab the things. Don't forget the group of moon wolves that we happily met last time, but a lot of people died. The boss definitely wants to replenish manpower. Unlucky, all the spies on that trip seem to be dead. Don't be too loud, hurry up. The three of them calmed down and hurried away muffled. Occasionally stop to rest or lie behind the rocks to avoid the beasts passing by. Continue until the orange red appears on the horizon, which means that it is dawn. At this moment, the three of them stood on a hill, looking at the fist-sized camp in the distance. Look, isn't it that camp? One person shouted excitedly. That's the camp. The spies who took the lead arranged. We sneaked in 3 directions and then met here. No problem. After the 3 were allocated, they sneaked into the camp. On the road, none of the 3 of them looked very good. There was no air, no sound at all, as if the camp was empty. Boom! One of the spies fell down suddenly. What? The spy quickly got up, looking for something that had tripped him. He looked at it for a long time but didn't see anything. Strange. The spy became more vigilant in his heart. When the 3 spies entered the camp, they all tripped and fell. After the investigation, the 3 of them returned to the hill one after another to exchange the information they found. The door is not closed, the important things are gone, and I left in a hurry. The charcoal fire hasn't burnt out and people left before dawn. It's the same on my side. The 3 looked at each other with very ugly expressions. Damn it, people ran away, the spy shouted angrily. It's not long since they ran away, do you want to catch up? Another spy asked. You chase after them, find their trail, and leave marks along the way. The spy who took the lead arranged. The other person, follow me back to report to the boss. You said, did the old convention catch up? Ask such an idiot question. The guy in that camp played the boss, and with the boss's temper, he will definitely catch up. If they left yesterday, the boss might not come to chase him personally. At most, he will send some people to chase him down. Now they are dead. Let's talk less about the boss and take a short break. We have to go back and report on the situation here. Yes. After the 3 spies finished eating, they fell to the ground and closed their eyes to rest. In about half an hour, the 3 of them split into 2 teams and left. After the 3 people left, a 2-meter-long lizard appeared on the rock wall next to the hill. At the beginning, the tricolor lizard stayed on the rock wall and stared at the 3 people, no more than 5 meters between the 2. Hiss tilde, the tricolor lizard sticks out his tongue, stays still. His mind is receiving instructions from Liang. After a while, the tricolor lizard climbed down from the rock wall and followed the team of 2 spies. At this time, between the hills several kilometers away from the camp, the rock tortoise was dozing on its stomach. If you don't look closely, you won't find this to be a tortoise. Since rock tortoises can use evolution points to replace food, they don't have to worry about finding food and they don't want to move much. There is not much error with the plan. The plan has been half successful and we can continue. Liang smiled at the corner of his mouth and leisurely got up from the fire pit and moved his body. At more than 3 o'clock in the morning last night, he went to all the firewood piles in the camp to get some points. After Liang came back and slept for less than 4 hours, the red ghost spider came to remind him. Someone touched the spider silk setup. After he woke up again, he followed the actions of the 3 spies and analyzed each other's behavior. In the end, the 3 thieves did not disappoint him. Then, Liang arranged for the tricolor lizard to follow the 2 spies and find the base camp of Bloodbeard. The red ghost spider is arranged to deal with another thief spy. Otherwise, the other party will track down halfway and find that something is wrong and go back to the base camp, which will fall short. Well, I overslept. Mino's hair was messy, his rabbit ears stood erect, and he jumped out of the room holding the wolf skin. She came to the lobby to see Liang and shouted anxiously, Liang, let's go to the camp and light up the firewood. No need to go. As soon as Liang's voice fell, he saw the girl's crying expression. He stopped teasing her and said gently, I have finished lighting the firewood last night. Really? Didn't miss the time? Mino hugged the wolfskin tightly and sucked Qiang's nose cutely. The time is just right, the thief spies have already believed our layout. Liang stepped forward calmly, leaving the collar of the other girl off, and he was about to slide down his shoulders. Minuo's pretty face quickly flushed, making a cute cry and hurriedly ran back to the room. After a while, Mino let out a crisp voice of dissatisfaction from the room. Liang, when you are going to light the wood, why don't you wake me up? The girl told Liang before going to bed that when she went to light the firewood, she should call her to help. I forgot. Liang couldn't bear to wake her up when he saw the girl sleeping soundly in her wolf skin. After all, it was a busy day building houses during the day and stacking firewood at night. The girl's physique, unlike him, has been strengthened several times and her fatigue is almost reaching its limit. Humph, Mino snorted knowing that Liang was talking about excuses. She didn't help and she felt a little guilty. Liang looked at the door of the room and shouted calmly, I've handed you today's breakfast, is it okay? No problem at all. Mino's figure immediately appeared at the door and said clearly, "You can rest assured and leave it to me. Okay, the breakfast will be left to you." When Liang turned around, the corners of his mouth were slightly upturned. The girl is so easy to understand. Mino cooked breakfast carefully and went out of the hall to the courtyard, ready to call Liang to eat breakfast. At this time, Liang used a saber to cut a piece of wood and placed 2 shaved wooden boards beside him. "Liang, you can have breakfast." Minuo leaned forward, she tilted her head and asked curiously, "What are you planning to do? Make a drawing board?" Liang put down the wood in his hand. He shook off the crumbs from his body, got up and said, "After breakfast, wait a minute to go to the camp." Before, Liang had used his mind and thought to wake up the dozing rock tortoise in advance and let it go to the camp. Why went to the camp, everything moved back. Mino blinked in amazement. She asked suspiciously, "Should we not follow the thief spies? Don't you want to leave something for your big sis?" Liang said and entered the lobby. He sat on the edge of the fire pit and asked, "What if you suddenly come back to the camp to find you in the future? The girl's life experience is still too little, he has to be responsible for guiding it." "It seems to be." Mino nodded in hindsight. She only wanted to find Big Sis by herself, but she didn't expect that Big Sis would really come back one day. "What should I do?" "Think about it and leave some messages for you that Big Sis only understands." Liang glanced at the broth full of a steel pot, thinking that the girl had finally stolen. "It has to let me think about it." Mino knew what he was thinking when he saw Liang's expression. She put a bowl of soup in a wooden bowl and said helplessly, "We don't have much water left and it won't take a few days to support it." The girl saw that Liang had been busy all night and only made so much broth today. Otherwise, the breakfast now is grilled small lizard jerky with a bowl of water. Liang took the broth and said relaxedly, "There will always be a way." "Hope." Mino rolled his eyes cutely. She took a bowl of broth and sat beside the fire pit eating absent-mindedly. The broth was almost finished, but the girl hadn't thought of what message to leave to Big Sis. Mino could only blink his blue eyes and begged for help. "Liang, what message do you think I should leave for Big Sis?" Obviously, Liang had already figured out how to answer. "Did you have any agreement when you were young? If agreed, Big Sis will let me wait for her to come back." Mino's blue eyes flashed a little sadly, and now the Bloodbeard Thieves group attacked. The agreement could not be completed. "What about the secret, or some secrets that you only know?" Liang made a suggestion again. "A secret signal." "Is it a secret signal to open the door?" Mino's eyes lit up. "What kind of password to open the door?" Liang was curious that a girl would use it as a password when she was young. Mino's eyes flashed with memories and said, "My secret sign is long-eared rabbit and Big Sis is short-eared cat." The girl was small before and could only stay at home. And her big sis wanted to go out to catch the little lizard, and she was afraid that the girl would be in danger at home alone, so she thought of a secret signal, and she could only open the door when she met the secret signal. Then you can draw a picture with the image of the secret sign and draw down all the messages that you want to leave to you big sis. Liang put down the wooden bowl and cut 2 pieces of white cloth with a saber. Who makes girls illiterate? Liang came to this world 8-9 heavens, and I don't know if the characters in this world are Huxia characters. He hasn't seen the written word either, but in fact the words spoken are in Huxia. Will it be too wasteful? Mino looked at the white cloth, feeling a little painful. The message to your big sis is more important. Liang beckoned to the girl. He took the piece of cloth out of the hall, nailed the piece of cloth to the drawing board, and prepared to draw a picture that he could remember using the sketch he learned when he was a special soldier. Mino obediently followed out of the hall. Take it and draw. Use charcoal to draw what you want to express. Liang handed over the drawing board nailed to the cloth. How to draw? Mino took the drawing board in a daze. You can paint what you want on the ground and then paint on the cloth. Liang suggested. He took another drawing board, nailed the cloth, and took the charcoal to sharpen it on the stone. Oh. Mino learned to sharpen the charcoal, squatting and wondering how to start. Liang glanced at the edge of the camp, and his mind made the rock tortoise stop. He turned his head and looked at the girl with entangled rabbit ears, smiling and prompting. Minuo, you draw a long-eared rabbit to represent yourself, and your big sis is represented by a short-eared cat. Yes. Mino suddenly realized that he lay on the turtle's back and began to draw. Liang took the drawing board and sat on the edge of the tortoise shell above the rock tortoise's head, visually inspecting the camp, and began to compose the picture. Shashasha tilde tilde. The charcoal was stroked on the white cloth bit by bit. The whole camp house and surrounding environment were drawn in. It took more than 2 hours for Liang to complete the painting called Hometown. Finish. Liang wrote the word hometown in the lower right corner of the painting. He put away the drawing board, returned to the girl who was seriously painting and looked at the girl's drawing board. The corners of Liang's mouth twitched, suppressing a smile. The girl is a true soul painter who belongs to the abstract painting school and can't go wrong. A bunny man with a long face and a crooked mouth with full teeth. A short-eared cat with long legs and small eyes. A huge tortoise with a big grin standing on its back. The only decent house is the one that copied the outline drawing on the house design drawings. The above is all the things that appear in the girl's painting. Please refer to the Children of the Earth kindergarten for the level of girl's drawing. Finally finished. Mino happily touched his cheek, leaving 4 black marks on his cheek. Can you explain to me what is meant by the painting? Liang said with a smile. No problem. Mino said with interest. The girl pointed to the character in the painting and said in a serious manner, I didn't wait for Big Sis to come back at home, so I left with Liang to find Big Sis. If Big Sis comes back, you can come after me and you. The goal is the little black tortoise. It seems the same thing. After listening to the commentary, Liang looked at the painting and felt that he didn't understand it at all. Forget it, he didn't really think that the girl's Big Sis could come back. The reason Liang wanted to do this was just to give the girl a thought. In fact, it was so cruel. In 4 years, the girl's Big Sis would have come back early. Yes, I think Big Sis can definitely understand it. Mino held the painting happily. You take the painting down, put it in a wooden box, and you will bury it in the camp house later. Liang twitched the corner of his mouth. He complained inwardly, if your Big Sis really comes back, you can understand that you are a god. Liang has a little impulse to keep the girl's paintings. Obviously, it is black history. Good. Minuo happily ran to get the wooden box. Campsite inside the wooden shed. Mino hugged the wooden box and asked worriedly, if you are buried here, you won't be poached away, right? No, there are so many houses in the camp, I definitely don't look down on it here. Liang glanced at the dilapidated wooden shed and said softly, if anyone comes in to search for it, it will be you, Big Sis. With the knowledge he learned when he was a special soldier, people looking for missing relatives and loved ones' homes will seriously search for traces of life, trying to find a little clue. Therefore, the other way round is that the enemy is also a good time to deploy booby traps. It seems so. Mino nodded hesitantly. Okay, put things in. Liang stomped his feet and a mud thorn rose up on the ground and then it shattered to reveal a hole. Mino put the wooden box in. I'll set it up and make sure that Big Sis will find the painting inside. Liang said softly. He spit out a spider silk from his finger, wrapped it around the wooden box and tied the other end to a stone. Okay, just fill in the hole. Liang ordered. Oh, Mino cleverly filled the hole. Shusha. Liang took the stone tied with spider silk and carved it with a saber. The sculpture was exactly the image of a rabbit ear mother. Mino buried the wooden box, curiously approached and asked, what is this? Be a bait to lure you into Big Sis's discovery of the wooden box. Liang placed the carved stone in the center of the wooden shed. The pattern imitating the abstract bunny ears is placed upright. Will Big Sis find the painting like this? Mino was a little dazed. You will definitely find the wooden box by your Big Sis. Liang looked at the empty wooden shed. If the girl's Big Sis comes back and finds a stone carved by little sister on the ground, she will definitely pick it up as a Big Sis. A stone tied with tenacious spider silk will definitely find something buried underground. Don't blame Liang's many routines, just professional habits. If it was an enemy's old man, it would be a bomb buried in the ground. That's it. Mino glanced at the stone. The carved patterns are better than her paintings, and the girl has a little urge to take away. Trust me, it's okay. Liang patted the girl on the shoulder. He got out of the shed, glanced at the red ghost spider that appeared silently on the roof, and received the meaning from it. The spies who tracked the people in the camp have been solved by the red ghost spider tied with silk and poisoned. Let's go, we should go chasing thieves and spies. Liang took the lead and walked towards the rock tortoise. Come here. Mino trot to keep up. At this point, things in the camp came to an end and the rest was left to fate. The two of them, a spider, stayed on the back of the rock turtle and marched towards the Bloodbeard base camp. With the three-color lizard's mind and thoughts conveying the direction, it is not afraid of getting lost. In the hall of the house, the two were fiddling with household items. The girl was using the wooden shed door to install it on the door, but her movements were a little absent and her expression was hesitant and stopped. Liang chose the wood for the table and saw the girl's appearance. He didn't get angry, just say what you want. Liang, will we leave too late? Mino asked weakly. She is afraid that it is because of herself that there will be problems with Liang's plan. No, I deliberately left for a long time late. Liang used a saber to cut the wood. He said lightly, we rushed by too early. The Bloodbeard must have not left the base camp. Going a little later just happened to stagger the frontal conflict. It turned out to be like this. Mino relaxed and quickly installed the wooden shed door. She turned her head and asked clearly, Liang, is your room cleaned up? There is nothing to pack. Liang shook his head. The two of them can now be said to be family disciples, and they don't even have a table, chair, wardrobe, etc. The girl's bed was laid with old planks. Everything is built from scratch. Then what am I going to do? Mino was a little dazed. You. Liang looked up at the girl with a dirty face, long hair that was dusty, and she couldn't tell what color of animal skin it was. He lowered his head and glanced at Owen, but he couldn't get any better. Water shortage. Liang sighed. Now know that there is a shortage of water. Mino put his hand in his waist and pursed his lips. I said I would save some water. I mean taking a bath without water. Liang said lightly. Ah, what nonsense are you talking about? Mino's blue eyes rounded. She said irritably, we don't even have enough water to drink. How can we have water to take a bath? When was the last time you took a shower? Liang asked curiously. 17 days ago there was an acid rain, so I ran into the rain and took a bath. Mino's cheeks were slightly red. Liang raised his eyebrows and said, you are quite bold. Mino yelled in embarrassment, I wear clothes and wash them. Liang saw that the girl had blown up her hair, so he stopped teasing her. It seems that some rainwater storage devices are needed. Liang doesn't know when the next rain will come, but it's not wrong to prepare in advance. You can't drink acid rain. Drinking it will make people crazy. Mino grabbed Liang's arm nervously. She anxiously persuaded. Someone from the hunting team in the camp drank acid rain before and took a knife and went crazy and hacked people. Don't worry, I'm not for drinking. Liang soothed. Why do we have to filter it and then find an animal to test it before deciding whether to drink it? Then what is acid rain going to do? Minuo asked in a daze. Of course it's used to take a bath. Liang took it for granted. He glanced at the girl and asked curiously, can't you smell the sourness on your body? I'm not smelly. Mino pouted. The girl ran into the room angrily. What? I actually stink. I've smelled it, but it's not at all. Hey. In the girl's room there was an unbelievable scream. Damn it, how could I be so smelly? Night is coming. The rock tortoise stopped to rest. Boom, Liang knocked on the door. Mino, I'm out for dinner. You eat first, I have no appetite. The girl's timid voice came from the room. Liang stood at the door, muttering, a 14-year-old girl, isn't it the youth rebellious period, right? The soundproofing of the door made of wooden shed door can be imagined. Huh. The door was opened instantly. Mino appeared at the door with flushed cheeks, staring blue eyes. She put her hands on her hips and said grotesquely, I'm not rebellious. Yes, not rebellious. Liang suddenly felt like raising a daughter. He smiled and flicked the girl's forehead and said gently, come over for dinner. Huh. Mino's eyes rounded suddenly, staring at the completely distorted hall in shock. At some point in the hall there was a tall square table and 4 benches. At this time the steel pot is placed in the middle of the table, and wooden bowls and chopsticks have been placed face to face. What are you doing stupidly? Come over for dinner. Liang beckoned calmly. You did this afternoon. Mino sat down blankly. She stroked the tabletop and bench and found it smooth. I did it when I made the big tub. Liang filled the girl with broth and said indifferently, you can't always sit by the fire pit and eat. There is a big bathtub. Mino was so shocked that he almost bit his tongue. In order to store water and take a bath, I made a big bathtub. Liang pointed to the big half-person bathtub in the corner of the hall. With his current strength, handling wood is very easy. In the past, Liang had to cut the sawdust a little bit, but now he takes a big piece of wood and flies away. How much water is necessary for this? Mino ran forward and looked at it, ignoring food. You can hold at least 10 of your size. Liang sipped the broth. Mino sighed, but there is no water. It will be fine when it rains. Liang looked rather openly. If there is no water, go to the Bloodbeard base camp to find water. If you can stay in the base camp, there must be a source of water. I don't know when it will rain. It hasn't rained for 17 days. Mino sat back on the table, thinking of the smell on his body, and he was not in the mood to eat his favorite broth. Liang chewed on the barbecue and urged, hurry up and finish dinner, I have something for you. What is it? Mino asked curiously, you'll know after eating. Liang glanced at the bowl in the girl's hand. I'll finish it right away. Mino had roasted meat on one hand and broth on the other. In less than 10 minutes the girl finished her dinner. I'm done. Mino licked the corner of Ai's mouth, blinking his blue eyes and shaking his rabbit ears. The current appearance of the girl is like a little girl, and his father asking for candy is no different. Liang took out the drawing board from behind and handed over the painting named Hometown. He warned, "You can't touch the painting on the surface, it will spoil the charcoal powder on it." Got it. Mino took it curiously and turned to look frontally. At the first glance, the girl's blue eyes suddenly widened, her small mouth widened. The familiar scene in the drawing board instantly hit the girl's heart. "Madam, beautiful." Mino's nose was slightly sour and his vision blurred. "Hometown, this is the name of the painting." Liang got up and touched the girl's head, leaving room for her. He stepped out of the hall and came to the courtyard, looking at the dark wilderness. He really couldn't see his fingers. At this time, Liang thought a lot. He thought of traveling to Otherworld and was lucky enough to meet a kind-hearted girl, so that he would not be ransacked and then thrown into the wilderness. Then I think that the girl is willing to believe him, a person who has been with him for 6 or 7 days and is willing to go with him. What Liang can do is try to keep the beautiful memories of the girl. Tilde. Suddenly, in the calm night, there was an intense howling of wolf. It also interrupted Liang's contemplation. He followed the voice and saw a series of white dots flickering from a distance, like white dots flickering on a black screen. Liang, come in quickly." Mino said anxiously, hoarsely. The figure of the girl stood at the gate, beckoning to him vigorously. "What's the matter?" Liang stepped forward suspiciously, looking at the girl's red eyes. "Come in quickly, it's too dangerous outside." Minuo anxiously dragged Liang into the house and closed the door with his backhand. She hurried to the fire pit and took away some of the firewood, leaving a little bit of ignition sprouts left in the fire. Tilde. Mino finished doing this and exhaled lightly. "Is it because of the wolf howling just now?" Liang asked gently. "Cruel beasts, moon wolves, a very dangerous group of beasts." Mino sniffed. She was so moved by a painting just now that she wanted to cry, and now she was frightened by the moon wolf again. "Did you forget? We also have fierce beasts." Liang stomped his feet amusedly. "Wu tilde," the rock tortoise roared warningly. Tilde. The night was far away, and the moon wolf responded to the howling of the wolf. Tilde. Afterwards, the wolf howling was approaching the distance, and the moon wolf had already left this area. "They're gone." Mino blinked in surprise, and his soft rabbit ears slowly stood up. "Already gone?" Liang has communicated a lot with the domesticated beasts and now probably understands the meaning of the beast's roar. To translate in human language is, the rock tortoise warns the moon wolf, "Get out of my territory." The moon wolf was not to be outdone and responded harshly, "Let us wait and see. It's fine if you leave." Mino set the fire up again. She was dull for a second, wondering if she had forgotten something. "By the way, what about my painting?" Mino's pretty face turned pale, and he looked up eagerly and was relieved after seeing the painting on the desktop. Just now, the girl worried about Liang's safety and went to look for him as soon as she put the painting. Minuo asked Liang for help. "How should the painting be preserved?" "Just hang it on the wall of your room." Liang said gently, "Help me hang it." Mino held the painting with both hands, feeling a little at a loss. "Okay, I'll help you." Liang looked at the girl, so precious this painting, inexplicably a bit pleasant. Booming tilde, there was a thunder and the eyes exploded. Tilde. Mino was awakened by thunder in a daze. A bright light flickered past the window. Rumble. Then came the muffled thunder. Thunder. Mino blinked and got up quickly. She came to the window and looked at the sky outside with her feet on her feet. It's dawn. The sky that used to be bright, but now dark clouds are rolling, making people feel very small and at the same time sighing the stalwart nature of nature. The night has passed. Mino smiled, turned lightly, and looked at the painting hanging on the wall. She looked obsessively and praised, "Every time I look at it, it feels incredible." The girl thought about it all night but didn't understand how this painting could be drawn. "It's shameful." Mino covered his face. It was really embarrassing to think of the painting she drew yesterday. Rumbling, the thunder sounded again. Mino recovered from his shame, glanced at the painting reluctantly, opened the door and left the room. Firewood in the hall is already burning. "What about people?" Mino glanced around and saw no one. When he came to the yard, he saw Liang was busy. She asked doubtfully, "Liang, what are you doing?" "Prepare to store rainwater." Liang cooperated with Rock Tortoise to transform the yard. He was going to tilt it so that the rainwater would gather and flow to the large bathtub arranged in the lower place in advance. "Then what shall I do?" Mino rolled up his sleeves. "You go to make breakfast first." Liang thought for a while and arranged, "Prepare a little more charcoal and use it later." "Okay," Mino answered obediently. "Unexpectedly, I thought about the rain last night and it came today." Liang looked up at the thunderclouds rolling in the sky. He thought of the feedback from the tricolor lizard at dawn, and the blood beard had already set off. It is estimated that it will be staggered at noon. Liang thought about the distance between the two sides and would cross the Bloodbeard team at noon. Now it's better to get a little more water. Liang digs out better wood from the yard and prepares to make a few more large bathtubs. If he has the opportunity, he will need to store more water. Click, click. The sawdust flew and was split into pieces of wooden boards. The place where the two wooden boards were to be attached was cut flat and polished smoothly on the stones. The big bathtub is not difficult to make. When compressing the plank, the gap is filled with spider silk. As long as the details are handled well, it will not leak. A big bathtub in more than an hour, a total of 3 big bathtubs. Liang went to eat breakfast midway. The thunder sounded intermittently until noon, and finally it rained. When it rains, it is a torrential rain, and the raindrops hit people and there is still a little pain. The rock tortoise did not drive in the rainstorm, with its limbs and head retracted into the shell and stopped quietly next to a hill. Liang, what should I do now? Mino looked at the rain outside, a little eager to rush out to take a bath. She hasn't forgotten what Liang asked. Can't you smell the sourness on your body? Are you going out to take a bath in your clothes? Liang looked at the rain curtain in the yard and there was enough water for the bath. Yeah, how else do you wash it? Mino asked suspiciously. Go to the bathroom, I will remove the roof of the bathroom. Liang glanced at the dirty clothes on the girl. How could it be washed clean? Okay. Mino's cheeks flushed when he was seen. Liang used his abilities to divide the roof of the bathroom on both sides and put it together after the rain stopped. He told the girl, go, don't wash it for too long. Good. Mino blushed and went into the bathroom. Unexpectedly, it would be so hard to take a shower. Liang grabbed his wet hair. He looked left and right, took off his shirt and walked into the rain curtain. 10 minutes later, Liang put on the clothes and pants washed in the rain again and returned to the hall with water stains. He heated the fire in the fire pit and boiled the broth. If you don't have any clothes to change, it's a little troublesome. Liang scratched his hair. He suddenly thought of the 5 rolls of cloth he had obtained before and cut a 3-meter-long piece of cloth with a saber. After folding the cloth in half, at the center line, use a saber to cut a hole suitable for the head to pass through. Without needles and threads, spider silk seems to be fine. After Liang folded the piece of cloth in half, 2 holes were left on the shoulder of the piece of cloth so that his arm could be pulled out. On both sides of the remaining piece of cloth, he pressed his fingers against the piece of cloth, and the spider silk pierced through the piece of cloth and sewed together to make a sleeveless round-neck robe. His Mino was trembling from the cold and walked into the hall inhaling air conditioning. She took a bath this time and took a bath for more than half an hour. When she came in, she saw the weird sleeveless round-neck gown in Liang's hands. Come here and change the clothes. Liang beckoned the girl to take the clothes into the room and change them. How to wear this? Mino was a little dazed. Put your head through the middle and put your arms through the sides. Liang explained it quickly, then pushed the girl into the room. At this time I was so cold that I was sick and caught a cold. There is no Western medicine or Huxia medicine in the apocalyptic world of the wasteland. It is completely immune to it. I have to make another sleeveless round-neck robe. Liang shook his head and sighed. He didn't feel cold, but his wet clothes were uncomfortable to stick to his body. After Mino changed his robe, he moved out of the room. Feeling the robes empty, she blushed and said, Liang, this dress is so strange. It's pretty. Liang heard the praise and was surprised by the girl for a moment. Now the girl's dirty face has been washed clean, her white skin, a pretty face like melon seeds and big blue eyes. As well as the aqua-blue waist-length hair and blue rabbit ears, the whole person looks as gentle and moving as water. Especially a pair of bunny ears has a strange charm. Liang didn't expect that after the dirty girl took a bath, she would be a girl with 18 changes. She was so attractive at a young age. Sit down and drink hot soup to warm up. Liang didn't want the girl to catch a cold. That is the most troublesome beginning. Well, come over and drink too. Minuo's face flushed and he filled 2 bowls of soup. Liang waved his hand. You drink first, my dress is almost ready. Go find a place to hide from the rain. The Bloodbeard man wiped the cold rain on his face and said indifferently, no one is allowed to drink rain. Don't blame daddy's knife if you get crazy. Yes, the thieves around shouted respectfully. The Bloodbeard, as the name suggests, the chin and cheeks are all blood-red long beards, completely covering the neck, and even the hair is blood-red. The tall man with a height of 19 meters is the sum of 2 ordinary people. Regardless of the sturdy man with a blood beard, his mind is very delicate. However, the temper is not very good, and the person who provokes him will be raged to death by him directly. Let the spies go out and be careful of the fierce beasts. Bloodbeard ordered. Yes, the thieves were looking for a place to shelter from the rain, and soon found a sloping rock wall in the hills. just enough to block the rain. More than 200 people with Bloodbeard, all squeezed under the inclined rock wall, quietly waiting for the rain to pass. Boss, you don't need to take action in that small camp. I can take people to destroy them. Yi Zhao confidently patted his chest. As one of the 4 bosses of Bloodbeard, he is also a jackal mutant. Absolutely have this confidence. Some things are not as simple as you seem. Bloodbeard pulled his beard, his eyes full of calculations. Would he not know a small camp and don't need him to take action? Bloodbeard is very suspicious, and there are not many people who can convince him, and none of the top 4 bosses believe it. Especially let the 4 big bosses lead the team out alone. He was afraid that the team would be taken away by his men. After all, it happened once before. At that time, more than 400 people were abducted by the Bloodbeard Thieves group of nearly 1,000 people. So far, as long as there are more than 200 actions, Bloodbeard will personally lead the team. Could it be that there are awesome guys in that small camp? Yi Zhao licked the corner of Ai's mouth and finally he could kill it well. The leader of the small camp is still capable. Bloodbeard said indifferently, "Boss, leave that little leader to me." Yi Zhao exclaimed excitedly, "If you want to play, I will give it to you." Bloodbeard waved his hand indifferently. What he wants is those strong men who can be absorbed into the band of thieves to supplement personnel. This is how the entire band of thieves expanded and grown, as for loyalty or something. Bloodbeard has never paid attention to it. As long as he controls water and food, he is not afraid of his people being disobedient. There are fierce beasts. The thief screamed in panic. Bloodbeard strode forward, grabbed a thief who was flustered, and shouted, "Where is the fierce beast?" "On the rock wall over there." The thief pointed to the rock wall on the side. Bloodbeard pushed the thief away, turned his head and looked over. A spider with a red grimace was hanging on a rock wall 10 meters high. "Why panic? Isn't it just a spider?" Yi Zhao cursed angrily. He smiled disdainfully. "Look at it, scared you see me smash it down." Yi Zhao picked up a stone and was about to smash it but was pinched by the wrist by the Bloodbeard. "Boss." Yi Zhao looked up suspiciously. Bloodbeard squinted and stared at the red grimace spider for a while. He shook his head and said coldly, "This spider is a bit weird, don't mess with it. Some fierce beasts in the wild cannot provoke them without provoking them. Who knows if they will stab the fierce beast's den." "Strange." Yi Zhao looked up and the spider on the stone wall had disappeared. He couldn't help shaking his body and muttered in a low voice, "It's really weird." On the other side of the hill, when Liang received the feedback from the red ghost spider, he was stunned for a few seconds before reacting. Co-authored, "The Bloodbeard Thieves are on the other side of the hill where he is." "Want to be so coincidental?" Liang asked in surprise. He calculated that the time was staggered with Bloodbeard at noon, but he didn't expect the distance between the two parties to be so close. "What's such a coincidence?" Mino looked up at the sound. "The Bloodbeard Thieves are on the other side of the mountain." Liang pointed to the other side of the mountain. "Will we be discovered by them?" Mino frowned nervously. "It's raining now and they will be fine and they won't come around here." Liang shook his head indifferently. "Really going to get something from the Bloodbeard Thieves group?" Mino pursed his lips, worrying about Liang's safety. She weakly persuaded, "It's too dangerous or don't go. Don't worry, I can be invisible." Liang said. His figure slowly disappeared. Huh. Mino's blue eyes widened in shock. She quickly got up and touched the place where Liang had disappeared, and then her little hand was held. Liang held the girl's wrist and whispered softly, "Don't worry about it now. Can you take me with you?" Mino asked, blinking his eyes. "No, you just stay at home." Liang raised his hand and flicked the girl's forehead. "He can protect himself by himself and bring another girl in for fear of accidents. I can help you carry things." Mino bent his arms, dumbly showing that he was strong. "I have Zyrakai to help carry things." Liang raised his hand and squeezed the girl's arm, which was soft and soft. "Oh, let me go." Minuo's face flushed and he pulled Liang's arm to coquettishly. "When you go, no one will guard your home." Liang remained unmoved. He said lightly, "Are you afraid of being stolen from the things in your room?" Mino's head turned quickly and he said clearly, "Isn't there a little black tortoise? If we all go, no one will pick me up." Liang deliberately made the situation serious and said, "Moreover, some powerful thieves may also climb up." He pointed the tip of the girl's nose with his index finger and said gently, "With you guarding the house, I'm more at ease. If rock tortoises can't stop thieves, they will use rock shells to seal the house, making it difficult for outsiders to enter." "Okay, then I will keep the house." Mino pursed his mouth. The girl ignorantly knew that she shouldn't be entangled, otherwise it would be annoying. "You are not free at home, you need to sew some clothes." Liang was afraid of the girl's random thoughts and planned to find something for her to do. "How do you sew that dress?" Mino tilted his head in distress, his rabbit ears tangled up. The girl had never sews any clothes. Her clothes were all made by Big Sis when she was 10 years old. You first measure the size of your body and then fix the size on the piece of cloth. Liang pulled over the camouflage uniform that was drying and slowly explained it to the girl. You draw a little wider and it's not bad to make a skirt. Huh, but this is wasteful, Mino pouted distressedly. Liang ignored the girl's pain and turned over the camouflage uniform to explain. When sewing clothes, turn them over so that the needle and thread can be turned to the inner layer. Huh, is that so? Mino was at a loss. We also need to sew some small shorts, don't ask why this can't be less. Mino, let me draw it. You can sew the same places together according to the icon I gave. In fact, Liang also has a little knowledge. However, there are ready-made clothes that can be used for reference, and some specific methods can still be understood. Needles are needed to sew clothes, so I have free time when it is raining. Liang decided to grind a bone spicule out. As for thread, spider silk is a good sewing thread.